Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Phoenix Raceway for the running of the 100% Cup Series Cup race here. Uh, we are going to be getting gridded up relatively shortly here, about 5 minutes to the grid. And speaking of the grid, we're going to get right into that so the drivers have enough time to make their pace lap and we're not holding them up. I'm joined by Ashton Hartman as well as Carlos Costa pushing the buttons as usual for 3 Wide TV. And the starting grid, Adam Benefield got the pole this week with a 26.3. So he's going to be, actually, I think that's his first pole of the season. Jonathan Delaney not getting the pole this week. He started P2. And Brandon Hastings, row 2 inside with a 26.381. So all of the top three ran a 26.3 in some form or fashion. Bryson Nixonbaugh a little bit further back than usual, P4. Dustin Hall, P5. Mason Lowry, P6. Cameron Stone, the defending winner from last week, he's going to be running P7 off the grid. Kevin Steele, P8, Preston McRae in 9th, and Jacob Adams 10th. Ashton, how about you take over from 11th on back?
Great to be here tonight, and will do. Brian Branham is going to start out your 11th on back, starting in 11th place with a 26.726. Craig Freer is going to join him on that row on the outside line, followed by Cody Bird, Wayne Grassy, finishing out the next row. Charles Eaton, Chad Edwards, 15th and 16th. Jacob W. Kraus, 17th, with Bryce Hoffman outside him in 18th. Tim Rell, 19th, with a 27.157. Jonathan Gilpin will be on his outside in 20th place. Ryan McDaniel in 21st. Dalton Mobley, 22nd. Dan Fields, 23rd. And to round out your 24 drivers here tonight, Pat Much in 24th.
And Patrick Mush didn't actually post a qualifying time, so he'll be starting at the tail end for that reason. But tell you what, Ashton, I am looking forward to this race. You can see on your screen the cars are running some practice laps prior to gridding, and talked to a few of the drivers pre-race, and the one thing that I kept hearing, Ashton, was track temperature. Nobody really knows exactly what to tune their car for here, because when the sun is out, this track is hotter than almost any other track on the circuit. But when that shade rolls in, the way the grandstands are and just the way everything lines up, this track gets really cool once that shade rolls in. It can completely change the handling of your car. So a lot of drivers struggling with their setups early on. A few guys thought they got it figured out really quick, including Adam Benefield, who he was fast when he ran NIS earlier in the week. He was fast in qualifying, obviously grabbing the pole, and obviously that Team Conti has something figured out. But it's going to be an interesting night for all of these guys, I think.
Oh yeah, it's definitely this is one of my favorite tracks. I like to call it the little tricky triangle because it's like a mini Pocono in my opinion. It's just every corner is different, and like you said, Andre, it's going to be hot out here. And while we may see some cool temps throwing people off during this race, I think the prevailing factor here is the heat. It's going to be hot. We're in the middle of the desert here. This is probably one of the hottest tracks in the circuit.
Absolutely, and there's the weather on screen. You can see the track temp is pretty high right now, and the air temp about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So definitely going to get warmer as this race progresses. So we're about as early in the day as we're going to be at this point. I think it's about noon sim time, and it's going to get warmer and warmer. And obviously the track's going to rubber out. So we got our point standings here, Ashton, and this is, I think, the first time we got to look at these on the broadcast in a little while. Adam Benefield is currently leading the points with 2 wins and 10 playoff points. Looks like Cameron Stone, the defending champ, running P2 right now. He's locked himself into the playoffs with a win last week at Vegas, and it looks like he's got about 7 playoff points. Kevin Steele, the winner of the Daytona 500, first race of the season, won it in dramatic fashion. That locked him into the playoffs. He's got 5 playoff points to his name. Jonathan Delaney, not locked in, but definitely sitting pretty there in 4th. Bryson Nixonbaugh back in 5th. Chad Edwards, a league rookie, all the way up in 6th. Preston McRae, Dustin Hall, Mason Lowry, and RJ Root there in 10th. Back to 16th, which is the cut line. You got Brian Branham, Cody Bird, Bryce Hoffman, Brandon Pierce, Damaris Hickenbottom, and Ryan Samuelson is right on that cut line with Tim Rell trailing behind him by about 5 points. So 5 points the difference between making it into the playoffs and not going into this race. But of course, a long season ahead of us. A lot of things can change over time. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Andre Grambush for 3 Wide TV and Ashton Hartman. We're going to be bringing you this race all night long. And speaking of the race, we're about to get gridded up. We got 1 second left in practice. We're going to get ready to go. But let's talk about some picks, Ashton. you talked a little bit about how you thought Delaney was going to be fast going into this race. Is he going to be your pick?
Oh, well, we definitely saw some speed out of John Delaney, young John Delaney, in the preseason, especially at Iowa. I noticed at that track he was pretty quick there. And I know Bryson Hicksonbaugh was definitely giving him a run for his money, but John Delaney really stood out at the short track in the preseason testing, and that definitely caught my eye. I think he definitely has a good shot here tonight if he can get it figured out. He's not really fast in practice, not really where I thought he'd be in qualifying, but here we are tonight. It's a long race, and with the long green flag runs, hopefully tonight we're going to definitely see some of these guys up at the front that we haven't seen in the past few weeks. This is our first short track of the season, so we may see some drivers that we haven't seen up the front before.
Absolutely, things could change. This is a different type of track than what we've seen. I mean, Cameron Stone, he said he didn't feel like he had much speed, but he did say that he was looking forward to this track regardless of being a little bit off pace, just because he prefers this style of racing. A little bit more off throttle time, a little bit more brake input, a little bit more car control than what you see in those 1.5 mile tracks, which those 1.5s do require a certain amount of car control. It's just a different skill set. It's not that it doesn't take any skill, it's just a different skill set. And Cam, defending champ, was looking forward to a track like this. And so you're right, that could definitely shake up the running order when we haven't really been here to a track like this. This season is an intermediate, very flat, very little banking through either corner. And of course, you got the dog leg that's going to shake things up. But my pick, I think, is going to be the guy that's sitting on pole, Adam Benefield. He like I said, he's just been fast pretty much all week, and I just don't think there is anything that is going to dethrone him outside of something happening. If he gets involved in a wreck, which he had some bad luck preseason, but he has had some fantastic luck in this season. So, short of anything happening, I think Benefield's going to be the guy to beat. We're going to find out as the lights are off on the pace car. So we're going to go around one more time. But if we're making secondary picks, I'm still looking at RJ Root. He didn't qualify the best, but he did qualify respectably up there. And he's just been getting better every week. We keep talking about him every single week. He's just up there running with the top five, turning laps that are comparable to the leaders. And I say he's like the most improved driver of the league so far, and I think that's going to really show through tonight. This track's going to take a lot of car control, and that's exactly what I've seen out of Root so far. So,
RJ Root, definitely a good pick there. I'm going to have to go with Cody Bird himself, the Birdman, Bird Vision. And he definitely showed some great car control there in practice here at Phoenix. And he's really cutting it down on the corners there and making up a lot of time on people.
And the race is green. Adam Benefield with a huge jump on the bottom. He's going to get about a 2-car length gap over second place Jonathan Delaney. And Delaney driving it into the corner a little bit deeper there. I think that's kind of the advantage of being the tailing car. You kind of have a rolling braking marker ahead of you, and you know that however deep the guy ahead of you drives, you can go a little bit deeper. That's what Delaney did. Of course, he gave up that speed on the exit. Now he's actually being challenged by Brandon Hastings on the bottom. Looks like that bottom groove is kind of the preferred place to be. I say the 81 gets a little bit loose, actually. And that is something these drivers have to watch for, is getting loose on corner exit. When you have these flat tracks with very little banking, it's extremely tempting to kind of abuse the throttle input and use it to get a little bit more rotation. Instead of cranking on the wheel and burning up your tires, you can just get on the throttle and kind of steer with the throttle. But that is a risky move. Sometimes you get on that throttle a little bit too hard, it's going to spin you around. And with a track where the inside safer barrier is right there. Whoa! Speaking of the inside safer barrier, that's Dustin Hall. He had a real close call there. Man, what a save by him, though. That could have been a lot more severe than it was. Being in the middle of the pack like that, if he had got that inside wall and bounced back into traffic, it could have been disaster. But a masterful display there, being able to avoid that by that one car. That's what I mean, man. That inside wall, Ashton, is so close on this track. A lot of tracks, they give you the cushion of an infield to slide through, a little bit of grass. No, not here. You just got that wall.
Not such the case. And this, it looks like Dustin Hall definitely put the power down a little early there, trying to gain some ground on the guys up front, and just kind of got loose. Could not get that grip he needed to keep it straight.
We got to move for second. Bryson Hicksonbaugh just went up into P2. He got around Brandon Hastings on the bottom, kind of threw a bit of a slider on him. Now he's got about half a car length ahead of him. We're going to see if we can defend that second place or maybe even run down Adam Benefield, who right now only 5 laps into the race, has a 1.2-second gap, which is absolutely insane.
Pretty sizable just in the first 5 laps, honestly. And I've noticed a lot of drivers really favoring that low line, really driving it deep there. We saw Brandon Hastings at the beginning of this race. He was cutting it low, trying to undercut even below the yellow line in that big turn there, trying to pass young John Delaney, and he definitely got the nose in there. I think I'm definitely curious to see where some of these drivers are later in the race. Some of these guys that may have their cars set up for that high line, trying to get those runs off the high side, get that momentum. Definitely hard to do, but if you can do it, pretty masterful, and you will reap the benefits here at Phoenix.
Absolutely, and it does look like Bryson is running down the leader a little bit. Little by little each lap, he's down to about a 1-second gap, so about a 10th gain over the last 2 laps or so. Meanwhile, Brandon Hastings seems to be struggling with his car a little bit. I've noticed he's gotten really loose a few times, and Jonathan Delaney, who fell back into 4th there, he's been closing that gap little by little, lap after lap. So I'm curious to see if maybe Brandon Hastings has a bit of a long run setup. I could see Hastings being a teammate, I believe, to Adam Benefield. Maybe those guys are going for opposite strategies. He's got the long run car. Maybe Benefield's got that short run speed. That's something a lot of these teams are going to do. They're going to throw all kinds of strategies spread throughout their drivers to see what works. If one strategy doesn't work, they still got options on the table. So see how that plays out for them. But go ahead.
And it definitely could be that could be the case. You might be right there, Andre, and especially considering we probably will be going back to Phoenix at near the end of the season, and that's something they need to look at. What's going to work here? What's going to benefit them? Should they keep up this momentum throughout the whole season, make it into the playoffs, and make it to that championship drive? What's going to work? What's not going to? And do they need a long run? Do they need a short run?
Absolutely, especially this early in the season. This is the time to learn, what works, what doesn't, especially on these tracks. Like you made a good point. We're coming back here for the championship race, so this is going to be a huge learning opportunity to figure out what setups are going to work. I don't think we're expecting too much to change with the simulator in terms of the tire model or the track model. So, whatever they figure out here, that is going to definitely be information that they can use to try and claim the championship should they make it to the Final Four later on in the year. So definitely maybe going to see some strategies thrown at the wall just to see what works. And as I say that, Brandon Hastings has lost P3 to Jonathan Delaney. Delaney got back up into 3rd. Seems to be his favorite position. Always running 3rd. He got around that 81 car, and the 81's still just looking really ill-handling. Like he's getting loose out of the corner. I've seen him scrape the wall a time or two. It just doesn't look like it's dialed in for what he wants. It's definitely understandable on a track this tough. That car is going to be sliding around no matter what your setup is. If it's just a little bit off, that is it. Jonathan Delaney 3rd again, as you can see on the graphics. Always 3rd. Good place to go.
He's definitely looking to break that tonight. And it makes you wonder if Brandon Hastings, that run he had at the beginning of the start of this race, if he was trying to get up as far as he could to the front because he knew this car wasn't going to be good fresh out of the gate. It was going to struggle once the tires got hot, once everything got worn in, and he's definitely trying to now hold his position and not try to lose too many so he can maintain that track position as we get into 13 laps just into this first run.
And on your screen, I believe that is a battle between Tim Rail and Ryan McDaniel. Those guys have been kind of duking it out for the last couple of laps. There's a lot of action all over the track. I've been scanning through, and of course, on your screen, the camera's been panning through some of the action that's been going on. And whoa, close call there for Ryan McDaniel. He got really sideways coming out of turn 4, and that really seems to be proving itself to be the trouble spot, Ashton. Every time somebody gets a little bit sideways, it's always out of turn 4.
Absolutely, and you see that a lot even in the actual cup races here. I think that's going to be a very exciting point for us tonight as people are trying to drive it back to the line, back on that straightaway there. We're going to see a lot of guys, especially near the end of the race, as they get desperate, as they're trying to get the points, get the positions. We're going to see guys try to get on that gas a little early, and hopefully we don't see too many horrific wrecks, but, it's all it takes is a few cars behind that guy getting loose, and that's it.
Another battle developing there on your screen. I believe that is the 53 of Preston McRae. What appears to be a throwback paint scheme. I really like that car. He's currently engaged in a bit of a battle with Dustin Hall, who, of course, had a scary moment early in the race. Now he's on his way to try and recover from that. Currently running P10, trying to get P9 away from Preston McRae. Preston's car is looking pretty solid right now, and he has kind of opened up the gap a little bit since we've been following this battle. You can see the rear bumper cam focusing on the battle there as they round turns 3 and 4, which, like you said, Ashton, the earlier you can get on the throttle coming out of 4, the more speed you're going to carry down that straightaway. And so you definitely want to get on it as soon as you can, but boy, is that a fine line, because we've seen exactly what happens if you do it just a little bit too soon. From Ryan McDaniel, Dustin Hall, those guys are a little squirrely, and the cars are kind of forgiving now, I would say, with the tires being somewhat fresh. We're only 17 laps into the run, but as the run goes on and the tires start to wear, that forgiveness is going to fade away. And once these things get sideways, they're going to be a whole lot harder to recover. So,
yep, as you see Dustin Hall, the back end kick out in that same exact spot a little bit on him there. I think he definitely learned his lesson, though, on that first few laps or so. But I got one word for that turn for these drivers, 2 depending on where you're from: counter steer. That's going to be a key factor.
wait a minute, where is counter steer one word?
A lot of places, actually.
In what geographical location are 2 words one word?
They are generally one word, but some people may know.
I've seen them hyphenated. I've never seen them. I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it.
It's a regional dialect.
Regional dialect from Albany.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, this battle, it's not going anywhere. Dustin Hall and Preston McRae, they're still duking it out, and on your screen right there, that's another battle. I believe that is the 56. That'd be Mason Lowry. He is currently trying to defend P6 from Jacob Adams. It's kind of funny. I just struggled to recognize my own driver, who's on my team. Didn't know who it was. He's trying to defend P6 from Jacob Adams, who had a pretty good qualifying run. He's running that 48 Carvana car. Really like that color scheme, kind of unique there. But he's been closing the gap quite a bit to that 56. It almost looks like Mason Lowry's kind of burned off his tires a little bit early in the run, because that 48 has been about a tenth of a lap faster each time I'm looking at the laps as they go across. And so I think we're going to have an overtake on our hands pretty soon here.
Yeah, and we talked about Jacob Adams last week at Las Vegas. He led a few laps there on a pit cycle. Definitely looked pretty good. Had some close calls, some nice saves. He's pretty new to this league and really fresh young driver. I think he has a lot of potential there. I think if he does well here in the next few weeks, a lot of teams are going to be looking at him. Maybe next season he gets a ride somewhere. Depends on how things shake up.
And we actually got a car going a lap down. That's Jonathan Gilpin in the 82 car. I believe that's a taxi driver paint scheme. Very interesting choice. I like it, though. He's making his laps. He did a great job letting the leaders get around. He took the high line, and there was pretty much no time lost from anybody. He's been he said in Discord he was just getting a feel for this car and, learning every time he comes out and races. I believe he said he was kind of new to league racing, and he just wanted to improve over time. He didn't want to show up and just start winning races. He wasn't out here to perform, top tier. He just wanted to learn, and I think that's what we're seeing out of him, because last week as well, maybe not the fastest car on track, but he kept it clean. Never had any incidents, never got sideways, never pushed the car past its limits, and never got in the way of the guys who were leading. And being able to follow these guys and look at their line, seeing what they're doing with their car, that is going to be something that he can learn from. And I'm excited to see what he can do in this league, because when you got a driver that's this clean out of the gate, once they do find that speed, man, that's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So Jonathan Gilpin going a lap down right now, but nothing to frown about. He's running a clean race so far. Back through the field. Go ahead.
Absolutely, and that's something else. Just any track time is good time. A lot of good experience he's getting here with some really masterful drivers we have in this league. We have a wide range with some high caliber guys to some fresh young faces, some eager, would-be future champions should they play their cards right. And I think Jonathan Gilpin definitely came to the right place if he's looking for a challenge. And it looks like he might have a little bit of right front damage there. Maybe he caught the wall a little bit and wasn't so lucky getting out of one of these corners. but definitely doing a good job of holding on to it. Looks like he's has his hands full this week.
Riding on board right now with Bryce Hoffman in that 21 car. Have you seen his driver bio? 100% human. That's a little suspicious. I don't know if I trust that. But he's currently battling it out for P18. Car ahead of him is the number 29. That's Jacob Kraus. These guys have been pretty much nose to tail for the last few laps. As you can see, we've been riding on board, and he's got company from behind too. We got a bit of a 3-car train. That's Brian Branham getting a little bit loose behind him, but a good recovery. 3-car battle trying to break out of the top 20 and into that top 15 position. They can just work their way through the field. And Branham way loose. He got a little bit sideways there, slid down to the apron. He had enough runoff there. He was able to correct it. Good save for sure, man. Oh, man, a little bit of contact. The 21 sliding into that 29. Maybe drove in a little bit deep, but no harm, no foul. They're going to stay in line. The 21 coming back up the track, nose to bumper. Going into turn 1. Is he going to try again? He got regrouped on the straightaway. Got a good run out of the corner. That little bit of wheel spin, you saw it. That's what cost him. Now he's going to dive down across the dog leg, try to get door to door once again. All this going on, Brian Branham just lurking right behind him, waiting for that door to open.
Yeah, but it looks like the 21 definitely trying to put some pressure here on the 29. He's trying to put that nose right there near the quarter panel, right there near the bumper, and say, hey, I'm here. And he's trying to get him nervous, trying to have him slide up like he is right here on his entry. 21's trying to get underneath to get the run off.
21 got up underneath the 29. He was able to get right there, but then he spun his tires. Now he's going to fall victim to the 74. It looks like Brian Branham's going to clear him on the high side. So while that battle's going on your screen, you're looking at the number 7 of Wayne Grassi. He had a pretty good run last week. He's been doing really well this season. A lot of solid runs so far for that number 7, and it looks like that trend is continuing. As you watched for a little while there, his 3-car battle with Preston McRae and Cody Bird up there as well. But we got a battle for second here, it looks like, Ashton. We got Jonathan Delaney, who has closed the gap entirely to Bryce Nixonbach. He's trying to get around him. Looks like a bit of a long run setup for young Jonathan Delaney.
Yep, and that was something that I definitely wanted everybody to consider. There was Jonathan Delaney had this long run setup. We saw it in the preseason, and it's something that's playing off right now. I think young Jonathan Delaney is going to give himself a run for these guys' money.
Absolutely. We do have Jonathan Gilpin down pit road. Not sure if that was a scheduled pit stop or not. When it comes to a track like this, sometimes you see drivers dive in really early just for the sake of getting fresh tires. Maybe that's what he was doing. Of course, Ashton, you said you saw a little bit of right front damage on that car, so maybe coming to get that repaired. Speaking of right front damage, looks like Bryson nearly got into the wall there. A little bit squirrely, and Jonathan Delaney puts the bumper to him. A little bit of contact there. The 63 was able to correct it. The 9 came across the radio, said, sorry, didn't mean to bump you. But I'm not sure that apology is gonna stick too well with the 63. I mean, it's sincere. I don't think he meant to hit him, but
I think he's definitely let him know that he's there now, and trying to bring attention to the fact that, hey, I'm hungry for this position. You better give it to me.
Looks like the 63 is kind of rolling over. He's like, all right, man, you want it that bad? Nope, just kidding. He's getting a run on the high side. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Caution has come out. We got a wreck in turn 3. So this is our first caution for cause since Daytona. I believe that was the 77 of Dalton Mobley involved. At Dangerous Goods Racing 77. Gonna take a look at the replay. So we're looking at pit road here. And as he comes out, I believe that's Jonathan Gilpin coming out of pit road. I believe that was the 77 in the corner of the screen there. Oh, he got loose in the dog leg. Maybe a little bit of contact from the 17. I'm not sure, but whoa! And then another hard hit right in front of Damaris Hickenbottom. Somebody got into him. That is a lot of rear end damage for Dalton Mobley. Weird situation. I gotta wonder if maybe, like I said, he didn't get tagged by the 17. Maybe that's what pinged him down into the... Oh, you can see the 17. He's blinking. Oh, no, he just got loose. Just completely got loose. Unfortunately, tagged Gilpin in that hard contact from, I believe that was Bryce Hoffman in the 21.
Yep.
Who got him there.
just absolutely, the 21 definitely got him pretty hard there, and it's just absolutely disappointing for the 82 team. He just got back out there after getting that damage fixed, getting the car readjusted for him probably a little bit. He's probably ready, fresh tires, fresh, somewhat fresh car, trying to get back out there, and just an unfortunate event. But
Yeah, that was just wrong place, wrong time. As you can see, all of our leaders coming down pit road, getting their car serviced. But yeah, unfortunate for Gilpin, man. I mean, he was just a bystander in that. The 77 got loose. Nothing he did wrong. I mean, we all make mistakes. It just so happened that those two cars went for the same real estate. And obviously, nobody a winner in that situation. Bryce Hoffman involved, 82, Jonathan Gilpin, Dalton Mobley. Nobody really got out of that unscathed. The Maris Hickenbottom actually got out of that unscathed. I think I'm looking at that '09 car. There's no damage. So he was able to kind of sneak through that. That's probably a relief for him, man. He's been involved in so many unfortunate incidents this season. To see what happened in front of you and not be a part of it, that's got to be a bit of a relief. But we're going to see if the running order changes at all coming down pit road. Of course, Adam Benefield was the leader going in, and that's not good. Whoa! I don't know if the 63 got him. I'm watching the replay of the pit road exit. I don't think he got him. So Adam Benefield is looking like, I'm not actually entirely sure. Adam Benefield is going to restart up front. I'm sorry, that was a lap car ahead of him. But what are your predictions for this restart, Ashton? Because with the initial start, we saw Adam Benefield get a huge jump, and we saw Jonathan Delaney fall back a little bit because he had a bit of a long run car. Now they're all on fresh tires. They're basically going to be starting from scratch for the rest of this stage run here. What do you think is going to happen?
I think they're a little bit wiser here to what's going on in these restarts, just a little bit. I think they got those 4 fresh tires. They're not going to try to let Adam get out too far ahead this time. They're going to try to keep him reined in. That being said, maybe with the adjustments so far, I don't know if anybody has made enough adjustments to get on par with Adam just yet. But we do see some long run speed out of guys like young John Delaney there, and possibly Cameron Stone, a couple of these other guys.
View of the track from Rattlesnake Hill. And just a quick update, Charles Eaton is going to be your lucky dog. So he's going to get the wave around and get back on the lead lap. So he was running back there in P20. The only cars lap down as of right now, due to that lucky dog, are cars that were involved in that incident prior. You got Bryce Hoffman, Dan Fields, Dalton Mobley, Jonathan Gilpin. Not entirely sure what happened to Dan Fields. He might have been involved in that incident too. I just happened to miss it. But he is currently 2 laps down. Dalton Mobley 3 laps down. Lights are off on the pace car. We're going to be getting ready to rock and roll here. And it's a new pace car, by the way, I believe. As mentioned by our producer, he whispered it in my ear. He said, that's a new pace car. I didn't even notice that. But looking at it now, that is pretty interesting. Kind of like a iRacing sedan. Fascinating. But more fascinating is the fact that Benefield did not wait at all on that start. He got on that throttle as soon as that pace car started to turn. Worked out pretty good for him. He's going to secure the front position. Side by side for second behind him.
I think we're going to see that trend all night as we go on, depending on no matter who the leader is. I think that we're going to see a lot of drivers try to get that jump out ahead so they can get some of that clean air and not have somebody to their inside or outside, so they can utilize the entire corner, the entire track as they navigate through these turns at the Tricky Triangle Junior, as I call it.
We had a bit of a cluster of cars here as the camera focuses in on Kevin Steele and Wayne Grassley. Those guys a little bit further back in the field. Kind of a gaggle of cars trying to work their way through the traffic and just get settled in. I think every driver is just holding their breath, waiting for things to settle out single file, because this is a track that is really scary to be too wide. Not only is that front stretch really narrow and really intimidating, but it really can be a one-line track at times, especially before the track gets rubbered up. Remember, we are early in the race, so that top line maybe not coming in as much as it will later. If you get stuck on that high line and get on the throttle just a little bit too early, or you make too much steering input, that thing can get sideways, and there's really nowhere to go at that point. So definitely want to get single file as we go on board with Brandon Hastings. Ain't in a rush. He ain't rushing anywhere, but he is running pretty dang well for somebody not in a rush. He's still up there in P2.
Definitely in a rush to get to Adam Benefield right there on this restart.
And it should be noted, Kevin Steele has worked his way up the grid a little bit. He's up in P6, currently trying to run down Mason Lowry there in 5th. So he's kind of on a slow charge from mid-pack. And of course, as we continue to ride on board with Brandon Hastings, what you don't see is right behind Brandon, he's getting a lot of pressure from that 9 car. Jonathan Delaney diving it in. As the camera pans back, you can see that 9 car running a little bit of a lower line than that 81. Seems to have a little bit more corner speed in the middle, but that 81 is strong on corner exit. And actually seems to be a little bit more on par with his teammate, his Team Conti teammate there, Adam Benefiel, as these two guys are definitely being the class of the field right now. Jonathan Delaney's trying to get around him, but man, that Team Conti, they got some speed right now.
As John Delaney closes that gap right there, and it just seems like maybe he's a little bit quicker in those 2 corners there, but it seems like Brandon Hastings just gets a better runoff here through the dog leg into the corner entry here.
Jonathan gonna try it again. He got way down low, almost put the bumper to him. I think John definitely knows if he wants to make a run at the leader, he's got to get up there sooner rather than later. You know, get up there while the tires are fresh and you got a little bit of attack left in that car, rather than getting up there after 20 or so laps and the car's starting to feel a little bit whipped. So he's trying to get around him, but man, that 81 putting on some great defense as he just slides up a little bit in the middle. That's where Jonathan Delaney is a little bit quicker, right in the center of the corner. But then on exit, you see that 81 just gets a great run, extends the gap all the way up to about 3 car lengths. A little bit loose getting into the corner there. That might cost him. Delaney's going to ride the bottom lane. On your screen right now, that's a battle between Brian Branham and Cody Bird. Those guys duking it out with, I believe that's the 48 right behind Cody. These guys are definitely giving it their all. We got some 2 wide action there.
And you really saw Cody Bird on the attack on this restart. He was up there with Kevin Steele. He's kind of been caught out in some bad positions here. He maybe had his tires worn out a little bit early here, as you see him drift up the track in this corner quite a few times the past few laps. He's just really got his hands full there, but he has been on the attack. He was practicing. During practice, I saw him really try to take an aggressive line. Wasn't too bad in practice. He's definitely my underdog in the race here. I think he's got a good shot.
The number 1 car. Sorry to cut you off, but we got a battle going on right now. I don't think Wayne Grassy is very happy with Dustin Hall. Wayne Grassy came on the radio and said, "Come on, man." And then the next thing I saw was that number 7 getting into the rear bumper of that number 1 car, Dustin Hall. They kind of Tokyo drifted it through the corner. They were able to gather it up, but that 7's still on the attack. He's going to get to the rear quarter panel. As we look at a replay, this is exactly what happened. So looks like Dustin kind of gave the number 7 a bit of a bump, which I think is what initiated this bit of a rivalry that we got going on track right now. Diving all the way down to the inside safer barrier through the dog leg. And as they come through 3 and 4, this is going to be the retaliation. The number 7 giving him a bump right back. Got the number 1 car real loose on exit, but he was able to keep it straight. And these guys still bumper to bumper. The number 7 did get to the inside of Hastings at one point. Didn't quite get the run out of the corner, and that's going to be something that's very difficult to do at this track. When you get pinched down to the bottom, if the guy above you knows what he's doing and he can keep you hugging that yellow line, there's not much you can do. But that time around the corner, it looks like the number 1 car took a really wide line, and I would have thought it would cost him some time, but no, he is getting a huge run out of the corner. And I think this is kind of the point in the race, Ashton, where top's getting a little bit more rubbered up, especially in turn 1, so maybe a little bit more multi-groove than it was early in the race.
Oh, definitely. And right before that first caution where we saw everybody pit for fresh tires, as those tires were getting worn, we had about 37 laps on them. You definitely saw a lot more guys on that high side, including Brian Branham. He was using the high line on the worn tires. We're seeing the 48 do it now, and we're seeing the 1 car definitely pull away from the 7. Kind of the winner in that little tit for tat. I'd say it was even. They both got a bump and run, but the 1 got a little bit more rear end damage, but looking like the 1 definitely won that battle.
We're going to take a look at a replay. I believe we had an overtake for 2nd place. That's going to be Jonathan Delaney behind the number 81. Sending it in through the dog leg. Almost side drafting him, if you can even do that at an intermediate track. He's going to get right down to the bottom of the track, and he clears him. I'm really surprised he was able to keep that car on the bottom. He took such a shallow entry. Would have thought the car would slide up, but no, a lot of car control from Jonathan Delaney there. Now his sights are set on the leader, but he's got quite a gap to surmount. He's got about 1.9 seconds at the line. and fluctuating, of course. So we're going to see what he has for the leader. And Ashton, we saw earlier that Jonathan Delaney does have a long run car. I mean, that car only gets faster as those tires start to wear compared to everybody else. So who knows? Now that he's got that clean air, he's up in second. Maybe we're going to see him try and run down Adam Benefield.
Yep, with only a less than or just about a 2-second, gap. I think he's not too far out. He can probably get that done. These leaders going to be coming on lap traffic. That's something they got to navigate, and also on these worn tires, the high heat here at Phoenix. These cars might get away from them on these long runs, and it's just going to come down to who has better car control and who can navigate the traffic and just run the better overall race. Very technical track.
Absolutely. And on your screen, you've been following along with the battle involving the number 48 car. Of course, that is going to be Jacob Adams. He's been doing a really great job working his way through this little pack of cars that's kind of formed a little bit further back. He's all the way up into P7, and he's been playing the defense from the cars behind pretty well. These guys have really been duking it out. And you talked how the one car got a little bit more rear-end damage, and I'm looking at it now. I think you're definitely right, Ashton. That rear end is kind of beat in, and I'm not sure if it's holding him up too much. Luckily, at a track like this, aerodynamics don't matter quite as much, but I got to wonder if maybe when this stage ends, he comes down pit road and he takes that extra time to get that repaired, just for the sake of getting it fixed. We'll wait and see. But we're riding on board with Bryce Nixonbach. We had, so far in our driver bios, we had Adam Benefield, who was a 100% cup or 100% driver. We had Bryce Hoffman, who was 100% human, which I'm suspicious of. And then we had Bryce Nixonbach, 100% here. So he is indeed here. Seems to be a bit of a running gag with these drivers. He is trying to, currently, and if I can see exactly who that is ahead of him, he is trying to run down Brian Branham in that 74 car. Brian, of course, has started a little bit further back in this race than usual. Done a great job working his way up through the field. Currently running inside the top 10, right in tow of Dustin Hall and Jacob Adams. But Bryson Nixonbach definitely not having the race that he wanted to have. You can see his intervals to Benefield, and it just seems like Benefield's faster every time around. That setup for that 63 team is not quite there, I don't think, right now.
Yep, definitely not where I expected to see him after that caution, the restart with the with the fresh tires. I figured we'd see him close to the front. I did not expect to see him outside the top 10 like he was at the time. 100% here, but definitely not 100% where he wants to be right now, sitting in 10th place.
And I talked to Bryson a little bit before the race, and he had run the same NIS split as Adam Benefield. Cameron Stone has a new appreciation for Las Vegas. He said he hated it, and then he won it. So maybe he's had a come to Vegas moment, if you could say, come to Vegas moment. He now loves that track. Actually, Bryson Nixonbach, as that's going on, he actually got around Brian Branham. So he's going to be up into P8. He's slowly working his way up to the field. You can see from this onboard cam with Cameron Stone, you can see the inputs that they got to make through these corners, and it's just so, I don't know what the word would even be. Not necessarily inconsistent steering inputs, but the car is just trying to slide around. It's trying to fight you at every turn. And you're not so much steering to navigate the corners, you're trying to steer and correct the car at all times. That is just how out of control these cars can feel here. And you definitely saw that with Cameron Stone's steering inputs. He's currently running the P5 right behind, he's running P4 behind Brandon Hastings. So Stone working his way up through the field a little bit. He was running 5th and 6th earlier in the race, now up to 4th. So we'll see what he can do. And on your screen right now, we're back to Bryson Nixonbach, Brian Branham, and I believe that's Dustin Hall, who's currently inside of the 63. 63 getting a good run on that high line. We're going to see coming out of the corner which lane prevails. Looks like the top lane. He got that good run right out of the corner. He's going to get clear of him. Now he's going to be able to go back to that bottom lane, which he seems to prefer through 1 and 2. But like I said, Ashton, I think we're seeing that top start to get rubbered up. And as the track becomes multi-groove, I think that's going to make for some interesting racing later down the line when these drivers have a little bit more choice.
Absolutely, and it is just, especially with how they have to put these inputs in. They got to, as we saw with Cameron Stone, you got to kind of hold a steady wheel through the corner, but at the same time, as you feel that car kind of getting loose, maybe sliding, getting away from you, you got to kind of fight it. You got to make these, you got you got to kind of saw that wheel and make these adjustments throughout the corner and just pray you don't end up in the wall. And especially running closer to the wall there, you're definitely going to see drivers flirting with that thin line between disaster and making it work and getting that sweet pass on the outside. And it's definitely going to be awesome to see if you can master that.
For sure. And it's going to be, like we talked about earlier, a bit of a learning process, learning when the top is starting to come in, learning how your car feels up there, and, just getting that car control down. And of course, Bryson Nixonbaugh, a driver with a ton of car control. So we're going to see if maybe he's kind of the pioneer of this top line, getting it worked in for everybody else, making some passes up there as this race goes on. Just have to see. But right now on your screen, you're looking at, I believe that is Tim Rail in the 17, currently in a little bit of a battle with the 46 car. That's Patrick Much. And man, these guys have been side by side for a while. The 17 looking a little bit unstable on the top lane, but a lot of speed. As you can see, the 46 getting a run on the bottom. He's almost going to get clear of him, I think. Yeah, he does get clear, but then here comes the 17 trying to get that crossover all the way down to the bottom of the dog leg.
Gets that side and whoa, contact.
Oh, contact. It's not over. Oh my goodness.
17 definitely came in hot, kind of locked it up, maybe slid up into the 46. They just the door. 46 had nowhere to go there.
No, that was just a. I mean, it was a racing incident. I don't think the 17 meant to hit anybody there, but you drive in with that shallow entry. That's why when Jonathan Delaney made that pass down low earlier, I said I was surprised to see that car stick to the bottom so well, because usually that right there, that's exactly what happens. You take that shallow entry and that car shoots up to the wall, and if there's anybody up there, they got to grip their wheel and just hope for the best, because that blue safer barrier is not very forgiving. So
little unfortunately to the right side of the 46, but they definitely collected that up and kept going. Doesn't look like any major damage, but definitely those two drivers are going to be a little cautious of each other next time they get side by side, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I said, I think they both know it wasn't anything intentional. But when somebody gets that in over their head in the corner entry and they get into you do tend to store that in the files there and remember that later on. So Jonathan Gilpin made his way down pit road. I believe he's just now working his way out of pit road, so getting some of that damage fixed from the incident. And right now, we're currently looking at Cameron Stone, who is running down the 81, it would seem. He is trying to run his line, trying to kind of figure out this long run, which seems to be favoring him. I think Cameron Stone on that short run just doesn't quite have the pace, but then as it goes on, almost like Jonathan Delaney, his car just starts to come to life.
He's definitely favoring a high line, maybe not on purpose, more so probably the fact that, his car is getting either tighter or just harder to control on this longer run. And he's, as you watch him come out of the turn here, he's kind of really right up on that wall. Definitely swinging it wide, especially through the dogleg here. And it seems to be working for him for now. So maybe he kind of puts that in his pocket for later in this race. Tries to make that work for him.
It's just amazing to be watching. Whoa, Brandon Hastings. A little bit loose in the middle of this straightaway. Not often that you see that, but this is one of those tracks where that can happen. I mean, this whole track surface is slick. It doesn't matter where you are. Physics do not care about your geographical location at Phoenix, because your car will spin out no matter where you are. And that was evidenced by Brandon Hastings having a scary moment there. That allowed the 57 to close in. And yet another yellow flag flies. We haven't quite identified what's going on yet. We did hear a driver.
Number one of Dustin Hall. Stop in the turn there.
Oh! Overcorrection. So a lot like that 81 car, he got loose in the middle of the straightaway. Unfortunately, oh my goodness! And then he just slides into Chad Edwards like he didn't know he was there. Oh man, I gotta wonder what happened there. And then Tim Rail, I think that got involved. Man, what a domino effect. So this is riding on board with Chad Edwards. You can see Dustin Hall getting loose in front of him. He goes into the corner thinking that he's going to have that position handed to him, and no! Tagged in the left rear quarter panel, sliding rear end first into that blue safer barrier. He's going to bring that car to a halt, and then wait for it here. You're going to see another bit of a tap. I believe that was again, I think that was Tim Rail. I could be wrong. Camera. Yep, that is Tim Rail in the 17 involved. So not a good lap for Loudmouth Motorsports. 2 cars involved in that, and of course, not a good lap for Dustin Hall either. That was unfortunate. Yeah, he had suspension damage there, Ash, and you could see how hard he was turning that wheel to the left.
It just got once that's happened, you're just along for the ride. There's nothing you can really do.
That wasn't an awareness issue. That was just the car just being broken. I mean, he did everything he could. I think going into that corner, he thought the car was going to turn. He didn't know he had that suspension damage, and then obviously it's never a good time to learn that you have suspension damage. But that was definitely down there on the list of bad times to figure that out. So he's gonna have to see if he can get that repaired. He is able to limp the car into pit road. You can see a lot of cars coming down pit road, and Dustin Hall will join them. So hopefully he's going to be able to get that thing fixed up, at least in running order, to finish this race out. Just unfortunate all around. It always is frustrating as a driver when your car gets sideways, you try to correct it, and the car decides to get grip at the worst possible moment, and it just overcorrects right into that outside wall, and nothing you can really do about that. So everybody working their way down pit road, getting those cars serviced. Some cars coming out of pit road already. And it looks like Brandon Hastings might have been involved in something. Yeah, Brandon Hastings got hit on pit road. Cameron Stone, I believe, got into the bumper of the 81. A lot of rear end damage. 81 car not happy about that, but man, we're going to take a look at the replay here as we rewind. We're going to see exactly what happened here, Ashton. It looks like the car in front of, the car had a...
Like the 75, yeah, definitely braked a little harder, tried to dive down in his pit stall late, and Cameron Stone and everybody else behind had nowhere to go when Brandon had to check up for that.
Yeah, I think the 75 just wasn't fully aware of where his pit stall was, and he looked over and he seen that pit board swinging around, and he panicked, got on the brakes. We've all done it a time or two. I mean, that's an easy mistake to make. It's unfortunate that Brandon Hastings got the short end of that stick. I mean, he was just a bystander. Cameron Stone obviously involved in that as well. Probably some front end damage from that, and that's an unfortunate accordion effect.
And that's going to put both of them and Mason Lowry all near the back of the field on this restart, looking like 15th, 16th, and 17th respectively. Charles Eaton, the driver of that 75, definitely didn't mean to do that. He did come over the radio and apologize to Brandon. It definitely, I can attest, it is hard to see your pit sign sometimes when pit road's busy like that. Everybody's going left and right, entering and exiting the pits. You're trying to look for that little dinky little sign. You just kind of hope you have a bright fluorescent sign, pit sign for once, that kind of jumps out at you compared to the rest of everything.
Oh yeah, like I said, we've all done that a time or two, and as the race gets back underway, it's going to be Kevin Steele leading the field through turns 1 and 2 with an impressive start. And yeah, he's going to hold that lead as they go side by side for second behind him. Bryson Hixenbach trying to get around that 48 car. He will. Now trying to close the gap to the leader as they're going to single file out just a little bit here. And behind him, we got Wayne Grassi. He's going to be the first car to double foul, but we're riding on board with Kevin Steele. Passed by Cody Bird, 3-6-21. That happened, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever forget it. Cody Bird did pass the Daytona 500 champ, Kevin Steele. Kevin Consistency Steele. Does that make Cody Bird the new Cody Consistency Bird, maybe? I don't know how that works.
I think he needs to come up with his own name here. He definitely needs to come up with his own shtick. I think he'll get something here. He's a pretty creative guy. Kevin Steele definitely capitalizing, though, on all these leaders from the race. I mean, he's definitely been in the top 6 all day, and I think this is his moment to shine as, the leaders involved in a pit road incident, all of them having to be punished for that big checkup. As Bryson Hickaw just posted the fastest lap of the race, and he's now putting a nose to the inside of Kevin Steele, looking for this lead. And I think maybe on that round of pit stops, Bryson found something here in this car. It's looking a lot better on this restart.
Absolutely. His car seems to be pretty dialed in right now. He's going to make short work of that 24 car, getting clear Had to check up a little bit on corner exit, and that by effect also made the 24 check up a little bit. That 48 car, man, I am impressed with him all night long. He's been engaged in battles, running his laps, and just doing a fantastic job. Now fighting for second place, trying to take it over from that 24 car. He will. He gets clear coming through the dog leg. Sight set on the leader now, but that 48 car having a heck of a night so far. A little bit further back through the pack on your screen, you're seeing a two-wide battle. That's Jonathan Delaney in the 88 car, who I believe is Craig Fryer. These guys duking it out. The 9 car trying to work his way up through the field. You know he's got a strong car, just not the best restart position. The track position was not there. So right now I'm also looking at our previous leader, Adam Benefield, who had a bit of a rough pit sequence there, fell back through the field. He's all the way back up to 7th. Now he's trying to take, 6th, and he is trying to take 5th from Cody Bird. He's going to maybe put the bumper to him, maybe just press that intimidate button from NASCAR 2005 down to the bottom. Going to get the side draft going into 1. And Cody Bird, Kevin Steele's parents' favorite driver. That's true, by the way. That is a fact. With a fantastic picture. Oh, Cody. Cody. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Definitely a character. We love Cody Bird. He definitely he's a solid racer, and he definitely knows how to party, as you can see from his driver bio picture.
Oh, Cody.
Always keeping it interesting for us here in the booth.
God dang it, Cody. Oh man. Anyways, Adam Benefield's up to P5. He is hunting down.
Yep, and if you look on that restart, looked like Patrick Mush kind of got into the wall there, coming out of one of the turns, and that gave him a chance to jump a bunch of positions. Adam Benefield still on a mission, regardless of the help. He's driving on his own up to the front. He is on a mission.
Riding on board with Patrick Much, 100% burning rubber. So again, a little bit more 100% worked in there, and he is
definitely burning up.
Trying to play some defense there. I believe that's the 75 behind him. They're going to duke it out for position, and ahead of them, you got the 81. It looks like Brandon Hastings, who is currently trying to overtake Mason Lowry for 12th. Big gaggle of cars in here. A little bit of side-by-side action. You've got the Kellogg's car up there. That is the number 99, Ryan McDaniel. He is involved in this fray, trying to cling on to that top 10 position. Not sure he's going to be able to hold on. He's stuck up on that high side. Here comes the 56, Mason Lowry. Get around him on the bottom. 81 car in tow. A little bit through the field there. There's the number 9 car, Jonathan Delaney, now working his way around Cody Bird. So Jonathan Delaney, another car, like Adam Benefield, trying to work his way back up to the front after having some poor track position on the restart. It doesn't seem to be holding him up too much, because he is definitely carving through this field right now.
You got to think a lot of these guys definitely, like Ryan McDaniel, definitely trying to maintain that track position. We saw that shakeup with pit road on this before this restart, and a lot of these guys up near the front for the first time tonight. And Ryan McDaniel and Patrick Mush are actually two of our biggest movers of the race so far. They both started near the back in the back rows, and they're already trying to break down the door on top 10 tonight. So they're just trying to figure this out like everybody else, and hopefully stay up there when it matters by the end of this race.
Absolutely, and it looks like Cameron Stone, he is also trying to work his way through the field, but maybe not having as much success as that number 9 or the Adam Benefield machine there. He is currently marred back in 17th. Not sure if maybe he got a little bit of damage from that incident on pit road. Looking at the rear chase camera on his car, it doesn't look like any damage, maybe a little bit on that left front. But that car, not really with him right now, running P17.
And that may be just a sign that he has that strictly long run car, and maybe he's just not as good on these restarts. We really saw him drop back every restart so far, and then he slowly, or not so slowly, climbs his way back up, within, 20, 25 laps on the tires. We might see a little bit more life out of this 57 machine, but he definitely wasn't really looking forward to this track. He definitely last week said he's not super expecting anything major here at this track, but he does have that momentum from that win last week at Las Vegas, and I think he's just hoping to finish with a top 5 here today.
Absolutely. Just a quick update for the viewers at home. Apologies on my behalf and on behalf of all of us here. We actually missed the end of stage 1 because that caution came out right before the stage was supposed to end on lap 75. And that was deemed by the admins to be the end of the stage. And they stayed green flag racing, and I guess we got a little bit carried away there. So I guess the stage 1 winner would have been Benefiel, I believe. So Benefiel wins stage 1. When we get a caution or we get an opportunity, we are going to bring Benefiel into the booth. We'll have our word with him. Again, apologies. We were caught a little bit off guard by that. I don't think any of us were fully aware of that. Stage 2 is going to be lap 190 for those of you at home, so we're going to try to catch that one. Try not to double down on our mistake there. Lap 190 will be stage 2, and then we're going to be all the way to the end. Got a bit of a replay here, Ashton. Let's see what happened. Counting turns 1 and 2. 29 Machine's going to be working his way through the dog leg, and oh, man!
Hits the wall pretty hard, bounces off, comes back up, and just keeps it going. Very impressive. But I was just about to mention that he was headed down pit road. I noticed him going on the pit road, and he looked pretty banged up on that left side.
Yeah, a little bit of damage on that machine, and that's what the difference in banking will do. When you got 2 tires on the racing surface and 2 tires on that apron, that difference in grip is going to send that car around real easily. So unfortunately, that's what happened to him there, and that inside wall was just a little too close to try and recover from.
Unfortunately, it's looking like Dalton Mobley, Bryce Hoffman, and now Jacob Kraus, looking like they've all called it a night and took their respective cars behind pit lane, as Jacob Kraus just not able to continue. Probably just not happy with the extent of the damage to that car, and very disappointing. I did like that paint scheme of his. It was that Spotify paint scheme. It really popped out here at Phoenix Raceway, but definitely unfortunate for all the drivers so far tonight that have been involved in the craziness of Phoenix.
Yeah, it's just one of those tracks, man. Something happens in front of you, and you don't always have an escape route. So everybody involved just kind of, whoa, Preston McRae, a little bit loose there, it looked like. But yeah, everybody involved in that just kind of a bystander, and one thing leads to another, and you got a beat up race car that maybe isn't really worth limping around the track. With what you got left. I mean, I would have to imagine that 21 car, Bryce Hoffman, had a lot of engine damage. That was a hard front end hit for him. And of course, Dalton Mobley getting tagged really hard on the driver's side door when that occurred. And, if they were able to get those things back out on track, they honestly would have been kind of akin to rolling chicane. So probably made the right call there, just trying to see what the car can do, and it just wasn't there for them. So they're going to take it behind the wall. Unfortunate end to their night, but we got some drivers left on track that are having a little bit more luck, such as Adam Benefiel, who is now up to P3. And I tell you what, if I'm Bryce Nixonbaugh, and I'm looking at my mirror and I'm looking at that scoring and timing, I am sweating. Because, man, that number 83 car, Adam Benefiel, is flying. Last time around, it was a 28.2. Bryson ran a 28.4. So 0.2 of a second difference between your current race leader and third place, Adam Benefiel. He is on the move. Give it a few laps. He's going to be battling for second. A few laps after that, and he may be battling for lead. As you can see, the interval, Adam Benefiel, he was 0.02 seconds faster about 4 laps to go, all the way up to 1/10, and another 10th, and another 10th, and then eventually 2/10. He has just been closing this gap at a rapid rate.
And you just gotta kind of hope that if you're Bryson Hicksam on that 63 Hugger Oranges machine, you just gotta kind of hope that Adam Benefiel isn't going to he's going to wear out his equipment, his tires on this run before he gets to your bumper, gets to you to make that pass in this long run that we've got going on here currently. But as we ride along with Adam Benefiel here for a lap, he is just diving it in there. He's right on target, diving it down low, exiting high, and he is just apexing almost perfectly as he goes. We go for a lap around the track with him, and absolutely, I don't know if anybody's got anything for him currently here in stage 2. Still a lot of racing left, though. I don't want to count him, our undoubted, dominant driver here just yet.
For sure, the former Coke Series driver trying to go for his third win of the season. Definitely has a car that might be able to pull it off, and got a little bit loose out of turn two. And what kind of surprised me there as I watched that happen is even when he got loose, he was still faster than the car in front of him. So a lot of speed out of that machine. And of course, on your screen right now, that's going to be Cameron Stone in that 57 Coors Light machine, still running about P15. So he's picked up 2 spots since the last time we checked on him. And so he's working his way through the field, doing a good job of it. But again, probably not where he wants to be. I know Cam, he doesn't quite like being midfield, and that car definitely coming to life a little bit. I mean, his lap times are, when he has a good lap, they're on par. But what I'm noticing is he's not necessarily super consistent right now. His last time around before this lap was a 28.9. This lap was a 28.6. So a little bit inconsistent as we got a battle for second place. And well, I call it a battle. That was a surrender. It looked like the 48 said, "All right, you can have it." And Adam Benefiel went on around for second place. And now there's nobody in his way between him and the leader.
Yep, and he's already pulled out past the 48, and that could just be the 48. He's definitely really young to this league. Doesn't have as much experience as Adam Benefiel, and he's on those worn tires. You saw Adam Benefiel just pulling closer and closer, hacking away at the gap that the 48 and the 83 had there, and he probably saw it coming and just said, you know what, I'm on worn tires. I'm not going to pull Ryan Newman. I'm not going to hold you up here. Go on by me. I'll figure something out to catch you later.
Absolutely. And I think that 48 car, he knows as well as we do. Sometimes you got to give a little bit now to get a little bit more later, especially in terms of a track like this where conservation is so crucial with how flat this track is, how much the cars slide around. It might not be worth it to him, to try and battle for second place. And maybe he could have played defense and maybe even held off the 83. But the amount of tire wear he would have been giving himself as well as Benefiel in doing so might have outweighed the benefit of being able to hold on to second. So give up the position now, keep the car intact, and then see what you got in the long run. Maybe you can run him back down. Maybe you can just keep making some consistent laps, and you'll be there in the end. So I think overall, that 48 car made a pretty good move. And like I said, he is just having a fantastic night. He is just...
Absolutely. And you got to think about it. When you're one of these super young green drivers like Jacob Adams in this 48 machine, he's running really good here at Phoenix. Probably the best of the season so far that he's ran. He's doesn't have that experience like Adam Benefield, not as hungry for these wins just yet. I mean, everybody's hungry for the wins, but he's thinking, hey, I've got something good here. The car feels great. I'm going to try and finish really good here and just keep this thing, drivable for the whole race, like you said. And, the wins will come later. But you got to think, in the back of his mind, he's watching Adam Benefield. What he does is he passes him. And I think we're going to see him, by the end of the season, apply what he's learned. And definitely we're going to see more of that 48 to come.
For sure. On your screen right now, we got a battle between Mason Lowry and I believe that is the 81 machine, Brandon Hastings, who was involved in that pit road incident earlier on. Looks like he's got quite a bit of that damage fixed, actually. That rear end of the car is a little bit caved in, but looks better than it did before. So I don't think Aero is going to be holding him back too much as he's currently running P10 and actually kind of extending the gap over Mason Lowry. Last time around for Brandon Hastings, it was a 28.868. And for Mason Lowry, it was a 28.876, so about 100th of a second faster. And actually a 10th of a second faster that time around. So 81 car finding some speed. Of course, right there on your screen, that was the 17 car, Tim Rail, involved in that incident earlier. He's one of the few cars that was involved in that incident that was actually able to continue on, because we just continue to look through the field, what everybody's doing, how they're running their race. And I say that gap between the 56 and the 81, and it opened up, but now it's closed right back up. That 81 actually made a little bit of a bobble. Now Mason Lowry is back on the attack, trying to get inside the top 10. But Ashton, we got somebody in the care center. That's going to be Jacob Kraus. We're going to bring him in and have a word with him. Jacob Kraus, you got a copy?
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Jacob, it was an unfortunate end to your night there. It looked like the car just got away from you in that dog leg. That difference in traction between the apron and the track surface, that'll jump out and bite you. But did a good job trying to fight to recover, but man, that inside wall snuck up on you.
I wasn't expecting the car to react the way it did. I was hoping that I could maybe keep it going and see if I could just, make a good first impression first race. But apparently that's how the cookie crumbles. The night ended early for the 29 Spotify machine.
Like I said, an unfortunate end, but you can't be too upset. You had a great run before that. It looked like the car was really dialed in, and coming back here for the championship race, you got to think maybe you were picking up some tricks and learning a little bit about this track before coming back later in the season.
Yeah, had some really good prep time before this race, and I felt really good going in. Did a lot of work and did a lot of figuring out how it's going to feel, and that first run really got a good feel for it, and was hoping that I could maybe use that to pick some spots up. But that damage I got in that first track really just didn't help anything, and hopefully we can pick this up and take what we learned from here and head on and see what we can gain.
Absolutely a silver lining, being able to learn about the track and the way that the car is kind of handling around this track. Ashton, you got anything to add?
Not much, man. You're just unfortunate to see your night end so early. Heck of a hit you took there, but hey, man, just don't take it too hard. This is a very hard track, and you did pretty well for your first start. Best of luck to you going on in the season, and definitely loved your car. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the paint scheme, man.
Thank you. If you want to see more paint schemes like that, go to Splash and Go Graphics. They make amazing paint schemes for basically any car in iRacing.
I can attest to that. I've used their schemes quite a bit, so definitely attest to that. Well, Jacob, we thank you for your time. Again, sorry your night ended the way it did, but I can say for sure I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do going forward. That car looked dialed in early.
Appreciate it, guys.
And that was Jacob Kraus out of the booth, and looked like we had a car into the wall while that was going on. I believe it was 81, right ahead of Mason Lowry. These two have been battling it out quite a bit, and we kind of had them on the camera while we were talking to Jacob there, and looked like that 81 just got away from him. I'm telling you, that 81 car, it's fast, but it doesn't look very stable. Coming out of that corner, he is just getting so sideways, and I can't imagine how stressful that car is to drive right now, because it almost looks like he is intentionally drifting through the corner, but it is just a handful right now for that 81 machine.
Yeah, and you got to think maybe with all the incidents, his car just being slightly off with adjustments all night. They've been battling that car, trying to get it in the right direction, coupled with the incident on pit road. Definitely just having a heck of a time here tonight. We do have a battle for the lead shaping up. Adam Benefield's been putting the pressure lap after lap on Bryson Hicksonbaugh here, as he finally caught him, and there's been a little bit of chatter back and forth between the drivers, but Bryson Hicksonbaugh definitely not going to give it to him like Jacob Adams did, as he's got that lead, and he said he wasn't as good as Adam Benefield here earlier in the week, but he's definitely not showing that now, as he's hanging on to this lead as they're battling going into the turn here. Coming up on some lap traffic, so that's definitely going to shake things up between the two, and we may see Adam Benefield get around him, but he is not slowing down on these worn tires. I gotta say, he has a dominant car as he puts a nose to the inside, dives it down low. He's right on that line every time without fail, lap after lap. A little bit of a bop. Comes back down the dog leg here. He's still almost on his door there. He's going to try to go for it again this next lap, but he's just whittling away at Bryson's patience here. And eventually Bryson's going to say, all right, I've either had enough, I'm letting you by, or he's going to say, look, I got to figure something out.
And I mentioned it earlier, but when you're trying to pass somebody down low at this track, and the guy above you knows what they're doing, and they're able to pinch you down to that yellow line, it is hard to get that run out of the corner. You get on the throttle, and it seems like you're going to get some tire spin. No matter what you do. It can be very difficult to defend, as the 83 is going to get right up against the bumper. So he's definitely regrouped. The car is definitely a little bit quicker than that 63 right now. The question is whether we can get around him, get clear him. He's going to try again going into turn one. Got to the quarter panel down the straightaway. The 63 is going to pinch him down again, but this time Benefield not getting quite as sideways. He gets the car a little bit more stable. It was easier on the throttle, and it paid off dividends, because now he is going to be side-by-side going into 3 and 4, which is a corner that's a little bit easier to run the bottom on. Car feels a little bit more stable on the bottom in this corner than it does turns 1 and 2. they're going to stay side by side, but the 63 with a bit of an advantage, able to
Getting
get
that
on that
run off the
throttle
high
just a
side.
little bit sooner. Yeah. And another lap car ahead. This could also play into the picture here.
Well, they better figure it out soon because a familiar car is coming up. That UniFirst number 9 of young Jonathan Delaney. He's coming up quick. He's at 2.2 seconds back, and he's closed it a little bit. He is in 3rd place, and he's pushing. He's coming for that. We've seen this long run speed of his car all night. With the 2 leaders, or 1st and 2nd place battling for that lead, John Delaney will be there before you know it. So Adam Benefield probably definitely knows his time is running out to get around the 63.
And the lap traffic might be the difference here, as it actually allowed the 83 to get down to the bottom. He's going to send it in deep into the corner. The 63, no choice but to go up high as he's having connection issues, blinking out of the race, in and out, trying to get the run out of the corner, but it's not gonna work out for him. Benefield is your new race leader. I say new, but this is a familiar sight, seeing that 83 out front. Now the question is, can Bryson try to run him down and maybe reclaim that top spot?
Yeah, definitely the 63 looking like he did not have the line he was preferring to take through that corner. Definitely had to swing wide to avoid the lap car, and just a masterful using that lap car as a pick by the 83 to get around the 63.
Absolutely, and he sent it in deep. I mean, that 83 sent it into the bottom at quite a high speed, and he was able. Whoa! As the 83 gets loose, he scrapes the outside wall with his right rear quarter panel, and that's going to allow the 63 to get back up high.
Yep, and the 83 reporting his car definitely starting to get loose. This is about the part of the run where he gets loose, and he definitely starting to feel the burn on those tires.
Taking a look at the replay here, you can see Benefield down at the bottom of the dog leg, and they're going to be side by side coming through the corner. So we cut out of there, and it was a close move there for sure. And now we got Tim Rail getting another lap down there. He's going to be out of the way of the leaders, clean and clear. But Bryson, go ahead.
While this is going on, look who's there as we see Adam Benefield and Bryson Hixenbaugh still trying to stay neck and neck. Young John Delaney is right there. He has already caught Tim Rell, and he is in the picture now. You can see him. He is within a second. 3rd place again, but looking to change that this race, and you can see he's definitely determined.
Yeah, he has closed that gap a lot. You're absolutely right, and I think the battling between the leaders definitely helped him out quite a bit. Now he's going to have to try and navigate around that 17 car, but Adam Benefield right now has actually started to extend the gap a little bit over Bryson Hixenbaugh. It seems like he's kind of got those tires cooled down, and sometimes that's what you got to do. When your car starts getting loose like that, wants to get away from you, you kind of just got to back up your corners, get on the brakes a little bit earlier, roll through the corners a little bit easier, a little bit less steering input. And if you do that for a few laps, you're going to cool those tires down. And before you know it, that car is going to start feeling a whole lot better. And I think that's exactly what Benefield was able to do, because now he's back to running a little bit quicker than Hixenbaugh. 28.48 for the leader last time around. Actually, 28.841. I apologize. And 28.850 for Hixenbaugh. So about 100th between them, but Benefield still with the advantage. And behind them, you got Jonathan Delaney with a 28.809. So actually the fastest out of the 3. That 9 car is coming.
Yep, he's coming. I don't know if these guys will be able to stop him on these worn tires. He has definitely found some long run speed here, and he definitely put a lot of laps coming into this race down trying to get a feel for this car. And I gotta say, he's just shown a lot of prowess at the short tracks so far. This might be his favorite place to be.
For sure, and it looks like we got a couple cars starting the pit cycle. The 82 car made his way down pit road, came back out, and that's Gilpin again. He was able to get in and out of the pits cleanly, no issues there. But I would think that these drivers are going to start thinking about pitting sometime soon. I mean, our last caution was sometime around, I believe, lap 80 something? So it's been a while. Regardless of the math, which I'm never that good at, it's been a while. Yeah, regardless of the math, oh no, my mortal enemy. These guys got to start feeling that tire where Adam Benefield, he said this is the time in the run where his car gets loose. And as we say it, Ashton, there's Kevin Consistency Steele, and he's really going to start this pit sequence, I believe.
And we saw some drivers last week. They tried this. They'd pit, try to get those fresh tires, and especially at a track like Phoenix where fresh tires are everything. Maybe Kevin Steele's onto something here as he tries to pit early, force the leaders to pit, and maybe come out a little bit ahead. As he gets 4 fresh ones and some Sunoco fuel in that 24 racing machine.
He's going to get out of pit road, and I think that undercut could definitely be a benefit. I mean, fresh tires make such a huge difference here, and not only just in lap time, but also in comfort, man. These cars are so stressful to drive on worn tires at a flat track like this. When you get those fresh tires and the car starts feeling a little bit better, man, it is quite the relief. So we're going to see what he can do as Cody Bird, the Birdman himself, Kevin Steele's parents' favorite driver. He's going to make his way down pit road, get that car service, get back out there, see what he can do. Chad Edwards for Loudmouth Motorsports. A lot of rear end damage on that machine. 100% racing at an Eldorado age 37. Gonna get that thing fueled up, get 4 fresh tires. Man, just a lot of rear end damage from that incident earlier. Got to be holding them back a little bit, I would say, but it's gonna be a clean pit road entry. And now Craig Fryer is gonna make his way down pit road as well, and Mason Lowry is gonna join him as well. So pit road getting busy, Ashton.
Yep, definitely getting busy. We're going to see these guys get tires, and it makes you wonder, when are the leaders going to pit? You'd think, like you said, the cars aren't comfortable to drive here after a few laps. There's definitely a handful. We saw Cameron Stone wrestling with it earlier, and Adam Benefield and the rest of these drivers are no exception. You just kind of wonder, here at Phoenix, when the tires wear like this, and you're probably more worried about tires than fuel at a track like this, what do you do? Do you stay out and go for the long run, or do you favor those tires and try to keep them as fresh as possible?
So the viewers at home couldn't hear it, but I absolutely love Jonathan Delaney's strategy here. So Jonathan Delaney was right behind second place Bryson Nixonbaugh, and about a second or half a second behind the leader in that 83 machine. It would be in his benefit to get in pit road before the leaders. And to do that, you can't really let the leaders know that you're going to be pitting. So the 9 car said pitting on the radio as he hit his brakes to enter pit road, trying to catch the leaders off guard. Announced it a little bit late, but he did get a 1-lap advantage over the 83 car, Adam Benefield, who was your leader. He's now making his way down pit road. And we're going to see, is that 1-lap difference of fresher tires for Delaney going to be enough to get around him in track position?
And we're going to see it really quick as Jonathan Delaney getting back on track here, heading into the corners. He's going to come back around and maybe get back around Adam Benefield, and he may assume the lead here. As
could be. I mean,
has yet to pit along with Jacob Adams.
That 1 lap of fresher tires makes all the difference. And as he comes out of turn 2, there's the previous leader, Adam Benefield, coming out of pit road. The 9 car is clear. So that is essentially going to be the overtake for the lead once the 63 decides to pit, as well as the rest of the drivers who have yet to pit. I believe that's Jacob Adams in that 48 car. He also needs to pit, as well as
Actually,
Cam Stone.
Like Kevin Steele will be in the lead here, but Jonathan Delaney closing that gap right now. So we may see Jonathan Delaney take the lead here.
Man, Kevin Consistency Steele. I didn't even see him sneak by, but he did. He is ahead of Jonathan Delaney. Remember, he pitted about 3 laps before Delaney. So, Delaney had that 1-lap advantage over Benefield. Well, Kevin Steele had about a 5-lap advantage over everybody. So right now, his car's probably feeling pretty good. That's going to give him, in essence, the lead once everybody else pits. But, again, that comes at the cost later on in the race. He's going to have 5-lap older tires than everybody else, and that's going to slow him down a bit. So we're going to have to see if he can hold on to that top spot. Jonathan Delaney is actually currently closing the gap. It was a 27.8 for Kevin Steele last time around, and a 27.2 for Jonathan Delaney. So a huge, huge difference last time around, and it's going to continue on this time. As you can see the difference between Delaney and Benefield kind of split down the middle there. Now Benefield getting a huge advantage, 4 tenths, 3 tenths.
Benefield lap times on fresh tires are out of this world with a 26.8 and now 27.0 the past 2 laps. Adam Benefield showing no signs of slowing down, but you can't help but wonder if maybe these drivers have found his weakness. They found this pit cycle, green flag pit cycle may be the way to get out ahead of him, and hopefully the lap traffic and all kinds of different variables slow him down or at least hold him up enough for them to hopefully get to this point. As
And
we get
what is
a three-way
essentially,
battle for the lead.
ooh,
As John getting over the radio apologizing to Kevin, maybe got a little bit of bumper there. Wasn't expecting Kevin to slow up so much on those slightly older tires, but Adam Benefield capitalizing even now on the 9 car as he tries to get around him.
Adam Benefield definitely capitalizing. As we take a look at the replay, we're going to see exactly what happened. So this is coming through the dog leg here, going into 3 and 4. Kevin Steele right ahead of him. Jonathan Delaney sending it in deep. I don't think there was any contact there. If there was any contact, that would have been net code. If there was any contact at all. I think what happened is the 24 saw the 9 diving it in, kind of made a bit of a reflex move to try to stay high and just kind of overshot it a little bit, unfortunately. But luckily, I don't think any damage between anybody. I don't think the 24 quite got into the wall. He cut it close, but I think he was able to avoid any damage there. And Adam Benefield has made his way around the 9 cars you saw on camera just a moment ago. And now he's navigating a little bit of lap traffic. I believe, actually, that lap traffic is going to be Cody Bird, that 13 car. So,
and while that
lead lap.
net code definitely unfortunate, you know, we saw John Delaney earlier in this race. He put in the bumper to Bryson Hixenbaugh, and Bryson Hixenbaugh coming over the radio as well. And definitely, you know, a lot of drivers not happy with maybe the aggressiveness of that 9 car in this race. But, you know, unfortunately, that wasn't his fault in that incident. So hopefully not too much flared tempers just yet.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think, Jonathan Delaney, I was rattling off the lap times there, and Delaney was nearly 0.6 of a second faster per lap at that point than Kevin Steele. So the closing rate in the corners was massive. And with how touchy these cars are, that closing rate can sometimes be hard to manage. And if you're Kevin Steele and you see the 9 car sending it in deep, you kind of have no choice but to try to send it in deep as well and ride that high line. And with this track being the way it is, you can make that high line work, but if you jump that cushion just a little bit too much, get up in them marbles, it'll get away from it. So, you know, we've seen a lot of that tonight, where the car just starts to get away from the driver, and there's not much they can do about it. As I believe that was a 48 car finally making his way down pit road, Jacob Adams.
That would leave Bryson Hixenbaugh as one of the only drivers to not hit pit road. He is still actually in the lead. We said that those 3 were battling for the lead between Steele, Delaney, and Benefield, but they were battling for the future future lead, so to speak, because Bryson Hixenbaugh still running strong. Definitely slow, 28.944 that last lap, but he's making these worn tires. He's getting every last bit out of them. He is squeezing the life out of those Goodyears.
I gotta wonder what the strategy is here, because the leaders have unlapped themselves, and you give it much more time, and they're going to come back around on him to pass him for position if he stays out too much longer. And at that point, man, you come down pit road, you're sacrificing a ton of time. I would suppose maybe he was just holding out for a caution, maybe holding out for a hero. I don't know, but he's trying something, man. I don't know if he was thinking he was going to get another caution, but I don't think the strategy's playing out quite the way he had expected.
Yep, as Adam Benefield makes up a whole second that lap on him. It's down to an 18.2 gap. There are only 4 cars on the lead lap, but maybe that's the strategy. Maybe he's just trying to eliminate the competition by keeping them pinned a lap down. I couldn't tell you at this point. We'd have to get into the mind of Bryson Hixenbaugh, and that's probably not a very easy thing to do.
Absolutely. Holding out for a caution. Holding out to the end of the night. Bryson Hixenbaugh in that 63 car. Still just avoiding pit road as if it were the plague. He's going to go around again. 28.8 last time around as he gets a little bit squirrely coming out of the corner there. He does have a lot of tire wear, but I'm honestly surprised that his lap times are as good as they are. I mean, 28.8 last time around versus the 83 Adam Benefield with 27.8. So only about a second off, which With the difference in the laps on those tires, you'd think the gap would be a little bit more. So he's holding his own, but man, just a difficult strategy to pull off. And I don't know exactly how it's going to shake out, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Is on screen. We're taking a look at that 88 car, Craig Fryer. He's kind of holding on to that top 10 position, trying to, whoa, actually right ahead of Craig Fryer. We had a bit of an incident there. Looks like Brandon Hastings got into the wall again. Some right side damage on that thing. That happened right in front of that 88 car. So I tell you, that 81 car, whatever his setup is, it is just not super stable looking. I mean, Brandon Hastings, he's a heck of a driver, and he's doing everything he can with that car that he has. But that car is just fighting him, man. He comes through them corners, he is sideways. And if that car gets into the wall too many more times, that damage is going to accumulate for sure.
Yep, and this is definitely for those who are just tuning in, maybe to one of our broadcasts for this league. This is definitely unlike Brandon Hastings. He is not, this struggling with the track, struggling with the car and the setup. So definitely seeing something, inconsistent out of this driver, and we're hoping maybe he figures something out as we get into the closing half of this race, and maybe he gets it going. But right now, definitely squashing any hopes of a chance to get a run at this thing like his teammate Adam Benefield. So fingers crossed.
And like we said at the top of the broadcast, sometimes teams like Team Conti will give each driver a different setup that strives to achieve something different on the track, be it a short run setup, a long run setup, or maybe even a mid run setup, perhaps, just to see what works. Just to try everything that they can. And if one car fails, another car will succeed. And the downside to that is where somebody will succeed, not everybody will. And sometimes you're going to get the short end of that. And I think whatever setup Brandon Hastings got, whatever strategy he was pulling, just isn't working out the way that they had intended. And that may be what's happening. I got to admire Brandon Hastings for wheeling that thing the way he is. I mean, looking at that car, just watching it roll through the corners, I can tell you with 100% certainty, to add to the 100% jokes we seem to have had tonight, I would have wrecked that thing 25 times by now. And he's out here running top 10 in it. So fantastic drive by Brandon Hastings, just having to fight through the setup to do it.
Yep, absolutely. As we actually saw a little bit of contact there, the last lap between the 9 and the 13. Speaking of hard to handle cars, looked like the 13 just kind of came up a little bit in that long corner before the straightaway, and just kind of got up into the 9. Did not slow down the 9 too much, but 13 definitely got his hands full. A little bit of contact between them, some words exchanged, nothing major as they both keep it going, but a lot of pressure as the laps go on and we get closer to the end of this race. A lot of these drivers really wheeling it around here a little bit harder than we saw in the first stage.
Absolutely. Bryce Nixonbaugh 100% loves the color yellow, and now he's going to have to dive down into pit road. I don't think he had much fuel left in that tank. Not a maneuver he wanted to make. He definitely did not want to come down pit road. He 100% loved yellows. Now he's just 100% sad because he's going to be giving up quite a bit of time, I believe, here, Ashton. Gave up a lot of time on those old tires.
You almost wonder if that was the way he dove onto pit road. I mean, you'd hope you wouldn't get a penalty, but you're trying to make up as much time as you can getting on pit road like that. Try to at least stay on the lead lap, or try to just finish this stage somewhere near the top 10. But he definitely, you got to wonder how the strategy is going to play out for him, as we have 30 laps to go, just now less than 30 till the end of the stage 2.
And to make a bad situation worse, Ashton, he overshot his pit stall. He had to put it in reverse and back up to his stall there. Lost a little bit of time doing that. So he's going to cycle out. There's some cars ahead of him. That's going to be Adam Benefield, but I believe there is a lap difference between them. So 63 is going to unlap himself to Benefield, but now an entire lap that he has to try to make up on these slightly pressured tires. I say slightly. They're quite a bit pressured, but while Bryson tries to run down the current leader, number 83, Adam Benefield, let's take in some sights and sounds from Phoenix Speedway with our Shano FX Overdrive. All right, we are back from our Shano FX Overdrive. Hope you guys enjoyed the sights and sounds of Phoenix Speedway. With 20 to go on the stage, we're going to go through the field here, Ashton. Starting out with our current leader, Adam Benefield. He's had a dominant car all night long. He was able to benefit a little bit from the pit sequence. He fell back a little bit to the 9 car, but ever since then, that car has been on rails. Got back to the lead, hasn't looked back since.
Yep, and that brings us to young John Delaney. He's his third again. He's looking to break that this race, and he's definitely been consistent. We see a lot of long run speed out of this guy here at Phoenix. Really strong at the short tracks thus far, even in preseason testing, and he's definitely flexing his muscle tonight. He was 4.8 seconds back, and he's kind of closing the gap a little bit. He's down to a 4.4. Haven't heard any complaints out of him all race about this car and its handling, so we can only hope maybe he's comfortable with it and hoping for a long run to maybe track down Benefield.
Speaking of consistency, third place is going to be none other than Kevin Consistency Steele himself. He's had a good run for himself tonight. He benefited from pitting a little bit early. He got the undercut by about 5 laps on everybody else, so that was able to get him up to the lead for a little while. Eventually, Jonathan Delaney and Benefield were able to run him down, but ever since then, he's been sitting pretty in third place. Not too much challenge from behind, although the 48 is starting to close in. But that 24 car is looking stable, looking consistent, as always. Looking forward to see what he can do for the rest of the race.
Speaking of the 48, Jacob Adams really showing he's got the speed to run with the big boys up here. Young driver to the league. We've talked about him a lot tonight for good reason. He has definitely been in the top 5 almost all night. He pitted from second with Bryson Hixenbaugh, one of the only 2 drivers to not pit for a long time. Finally pitted about 10 laps before Bryson Hixenbaugh got down pit road. Went from second. He's driven all the way back up to 4th now, and shows no signs of stopping. Definitely got a strong car here as he's chasing down Kevin Steele, and he's got something here. Hopefully it's enough to get him the spot that matters at the end of this race.
Looking back to 5th, it is an unfamiliar sight for that orange and green Hugger Oranges car to be so far back in the field, but right now Bryson Hixenbaugh running P5. He's had a bit of a rough night. He said coming into this race that he thought Benefield was going to be the car to beat, and those predictions seem to be shaken out exactly the way, unlike my predictions, his predictions seem to be playing out as he thought. But still, you can't complain about running 5th. He had to stay out about 15 laps longer than some of the other competition. That was a strategy he decided upon. Eventually ran out of gas, had to pit, gave up a lot of time. He was down an entire lap to the leader. Now he's actually closing that gap quite a bit. It was an entire lap. Now 14 seconds separates him and the leader.
Going back to the field behind Bryson Hixenbaugh, Mason Lowry here in the 56 machine. He's got a nice bright green and black Interstate Batteries car, looking super fresh on the track here. He's been outside the top 5 all night. He's been, just there in 6th place, outside looking in. Definitely a solid car. You saw his battle earlier with Brandon Hastings and a few other drivers. Definitely knows how to navigate his way around Phoenix. Just probably maybe missing something with this setup. Just a little bit more speed, and we'd see him as a top 5 driver. But as it stands right now, he's running consistently, maybe hoping for something to shake things up at the end of this race.
Only a few car lengths back from Mason Lowry is that 74 car, Brian Branham. Brian Branham actually missed the start. He lagged out of the lobby, had to start from pit road, and despite all of that, has raced his way all the way back up to 7th. So he's inside the top 10, currently lapping a little bit faster than the car ahead, Mason Lowry, and trying to hunt down him as well as the car ahead for the top 5 right now, just focusing on returning his laps and overcoming that problematic start.
Number 7 car of Wayne Grassy right behind Brian Branham. He's had a solid run all night in the top 10. Hasn't had any real complaints about his car either, and just hoping to finish out this night just as strong as he started it.
And then back from Wayne Grassy, you got Brandon Hastings, who has done a heck of a job wheeling that car around the track tonight, but the setup seems to have just missed the mark a little bit. He's incredibly loose through the corners. You can see him sliding on corner entry every single time, sliding on corner exit, somehow keeping that thing under control, though. Fantastic drive, even despite the setup, and a good showing for Team Conti tonight in that 81 car.
Right behind him, the 88 car of Craig Fryer, quietly consistent all night. Hasn't made big waves, but at the same time, looking pretty solid through his run at Phoenix. Gets a little bit loose there behind Brandon Hastings, but overall, great car control from this driver. And as it looks like he's about to go get lapped by John Delaney there, he's definitely looking pretty competent behind the wheel here at Phoenix.
And that 88 is closing the gap pretty quick to the 81, Brandon Hastings. He's gotten up to the bumper a couple times. He's tried to make the move there, and just got a little bit loose, as now the 9 car is going to make his presence known. He's going to try and get around him. Maybe a little bit of a bump there. I think maybe a little bit of contact, but he's going to get around him right on the bottom. And the 88 actually apologized to Jonathan, so apparently the 88 thought that maybe he was at fault for whatever went down there. But on your screen right now, that's Cameron Stone in the 57. We talked about him a little bit, just not quite as far through the field as he would want to be. Looks like the car is just really, really loose for Cam today. I mean, similar to Brandon Hastings and the way that he's just sliding through every turn. Amplify that by about 2 times, and you got the setup that Cameron Stone is driving. As Cody Bird actually just came across the radio and said, "Hold on to it, Cam," because he's seen him get loose just like we did. And he is struggling with that car tonight, Ashton.
Yeah, and he, coming with that momentum off of Vegas, and this is actually, believe it or not, one of Cameron Stone's favorite tracks. He loves Phoenix. Maybe doesn't love it as much here in this car on this setup, but he loves this track, so it's definitely surprising to see him. He was in the top 10 at the beginning of this race and stayed up there for a while, and he just has not, since that pit road incident back in stage 2, has not been able to really get this car back going again.
We're going to have to see if maybe he can make some setup adjustments as we come to the close of the stage. Again, the stage is going to be at lap 190. That'll be the end of stage 2. Everybody's going to be able to come down pit road, make some adjustments, maybe see if they can get their car feeling a little bit better. And I think as the track gets rubbered up, the handling is changing, and these guys are just having to kind of figure it out, make some adjustments, and they'll probably get there in the end. But right now, just turning their laps, trying to run their race and see where it goes. But Jonathan Delaney running P2 is currently at about a 2.8 second gap to Adam Benefiel. So quite a ways to the leader, and about a 10-second gap back to Bryson Dixonbaugh running P3. So Bryson has done a phenomenal job, even despite the long run strategy that he took with that pit sequence, working his way back up to a podium position in 3rd. Actually closed in another second that lap around. It was 9.6 seconds. Unfortunately, with the stage only about 4 to go, he's not quite going to have time to catch up to the leader. But honestly, if he had a few more laps, he might have got there.
And we talk about Jonathan Delaney. He actually closed that gap quite a bit. And we talk about he's 2.8 seconds back. And while that seems like a lot, a few laps ago, we talked about he was already at like 4.8, 4.4. So he has cut that in half. And I think this long run car is starting to rear its head again. And Adam Benefiel running a little bit slower. And that could be due to lap traffic. Could just be the car is getting loose on him again, like he talked about at these long runs. He's having trouble holding on that car. As John Delaney within 2 seconds now, running a few tenths faster each lap.
And it's going to be 2 to go in the stage. Pit road is officially closed. Nobody allowed to make their way down until the stage caution flies. And Adam Benefiel still holding on to about a 2-second lead. Jonathan Delaney, I think, is lapping a little bit quicker, like you said. Not quite as much that last time around as it was prior, but he is definitely faster. And I think Jonathan Delaney is just wishing that this stage was like 10 laps longer or so, because now down to a 1.8 second gap. He was 2 tenths faster that time. As we take lap 190, the stage will be over at the completion, or at least when 10 cars complete this lap 190. And then we're going to get them racked up, stacked up. We're going to have a word with Adam Benefiel. It'll be 2 interviews in 1, because we missed him for the first stage, if he can hold on at this lead, of course. Man, Jonathan Delaney, I'll tell you what, Ashton, as Benefiel comes across the line to win the stage, Delaney brought it all the way down to 1.1 seconds. He was on rails at the end there.
And it makes you wonder, if they stay green in this last stage, what kind of speed we're going to see out of young John Delaney here at the end of it. Can he maybe chase down Adam Benefiel? Because as it stands right now, he may be one of the only drivers that can hold a candle to Adam Benefield's dominant performance here at the track.
His car definitely seems to be one that can compete with Benefiel. They're just quick in two different sections of the run. Benefiel has a lot of short run speed, and he can build up a massive gap early in the run, and then Jonathan Delaney's car comes to life a little bit later, and he starts slowly cutting away at that gap as the race goes on. Unfortunately, the stages have been just a little bit too short for him to really capitalize on that long run setup. And of course, in stage one, we had a couple cautions, which really hindered his long run setup. If stage three was to go green all the way through, he for sure would have a better shot at it there than in the first two stages, because it's going to be the longest run of the race, stage three being the longest stage. And I'm sure he's hoping that it stays green as everybody's going to make their way down pit road. I believe Adam Benefiel, John Delaney, bumper to bumper as they make their way down. Both of these guys hoping to have a clean entry and exit. Of course, Adam Benefiel, with the pole, he was able to get the first pit stall, which means he can basically just, as soon as that pit stop's over, get on the throttle, gun it to the pit road exit line, and call it good. So that's kind of one of the advantages or the perks that you give yourself in getting that pole.
Absolutely. And surprising enough, Bryson Hicksonbaugh drove his way back up to third place through that run on those fresher tires. Maybe that was the strategy here, was to maybe lose a couple positions, but still maintain that close to the front track position. Definitely working out for him. It's going to be interesting to see where he stacks up in this last stage, as he comes away with 4 fresh tires, full tank of gas, and we're going to see what
Oh
the
my goodness. I think Benefiel got a penalty of some sort.
Yeah,
He
he's
is still in his pit stall.
still in his pit stall. That is interesting.
Wow, that is a turn of events. That's going to give the front row to Jonathan Delaney, because the 83 is still in his stall. So I'm not sure if he got a penalty or if maybe he had to hop out of the car for a moment or for something. I mean,
I think we definitely when we get him in here on the radio, we can definitely find out what he's what's going on there. As he pulls away finally, that's going to put him back all the way back to what looks like 11th place.
all right, we're going to bring in Adam Benefiel, have a word with our stage winner. Adam Benefiel, you got a copy?
Oh yeah. I'm here.
Well, you won stage one. You won stage two. We missed you in stage one. We were a little bit backed up on the stage there. We apologize, but that car has been dominant out there. How's it feeling?
Yeah, it's feeling good, man. Guys at Team Conti put together a pretty good little hot rod here, and you know, it's doing good. I'm gonna have to restart in the back. I couldn't hold it no more. I had to go to the restroom.
We were wondering about that. We thought maybe you got a penalty. We were going to bring that up, but I guess that answers that. I think if anybody can work their way up from the back of the field up to the front, it's definitely you, man. You've had a rocket ship out there all night, and kind of a short run setup, but definitely doesn't fall off too much towards the end of the run. So definitely looking great out there. And we're going to let you back in your team chat. It looks like the lights are going to go off on the pace car pretty quick here. We're going to get stacked up. But good luck with the rest of the race, Adam, and thanks for your time.
It's not a short run car. I just ain't showed you everything I got.
when have you ever showed us your hand early in the race?
I appreciate it, bud.
All right. That
Oh.
was Adam Benefiel saying it wasn't a short run car. He just ain't showing us everything.
Oh boy, that is something that I'm sure his competitors in the 63 and the 9 definitely do not want to hear. So it's a good thing they're probably not listening to the broadcast right now, because if they just heard what Adam Benefield said, I'm sure they would lose a little bit of wind in the sails. But they're going to try nonetheless. As the lights are off in the pace car, it goes down pit road, and we get stacked up for another green flag run here.
Stacked up indeed. They didn't get on the throttle like I. Okay, extended caution. Whoa! Did anybody see? Ashton, did you just see what I saw with the pace car?
Yeah, I did indeed, and it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, the new pace car has some new moves of its own. As we go to a replay, the pace car going to get a little bit of the spotlight tonight, as it just drives through pit wall. Absolutely no regard for NASCAR officials' safety precautions.
No regard for NASCAR officials. That's no regard for physics.
Yeah, as we start to question the laws of science here at Phoenix Raceway,
Oh my goodness.
I gotta say, I'm not picking favorites for the pace cars here in iRacing, but I'm just saying, our good old faithful pace car Mustang would have never done such a thing. That's all I'm gonna say.
I tell you what, my vote is that we let that pace car stay on track and run this race because clearly he's discovered something that nobody else has. As we have gone back green, um, looks like Jonathan Delaney is going to be able to maintain his lead as they have gotten onto the loud pedal. Bryson Nixonbaugh tailing not far behind. Still a little bit of connection issues for Bryson. Kind of unlike him. We never really see Bryson blink too much.
Yeah, as you see Jacob Adams with a strong start here. Kevin Steele up into the wall. He's going to lose a lot of position as they all come through the turn pretty safely, other than Kevin Steele. Just looked like he maybe got a little bit of contact or maybe swung a little too wide there. As he's trying to rally back here. John Delaney didn't get quite the restart. As we go to a replay and see what happened with Kevin Steele. Yep, just overdrove it there. You're going to see that a lot on these restarts as we get closer and closer to the end of the race. If we get more cautions, these drivers are going to get anxious. They're going to get antsy. They're going to get on the wrong pedal when they need to be on the other pedal.
Very similar to what he did earlier in the race. When Jonathan Delaney got underneath him, he kind of rode that high line and kind of overshot it. That's kind of what happened there. But speaking of Jonathan Delaney, 100% not in third. So he's currently running P2, although that 48 has anything to say about him. He might be in P3 pretty soon because Jacob Adams on a roll right now.
Yep. As Corey LaJoy would say, John Delaney there stacking pennies one at a time.
Absolutely, and again, not without struggle. I mean, that 48 car right on his bumper, giving chase, trying to get around him. Obviously, we've seen that 9 car just has a lot more speed later in the run than it does early, so he's going to be struggling through that as everybody else has a little bit better of a car right now. Yeah, he's going to have to wait a little bit before that car comes to life. Jacob Adams just waiting for that door to open.
Yeah, Jacob Adams, he's got a moderately, it seems like he's kind of strong at the start, but you don't really see him lose too much momentum at the end of these runs. So he's definitely got a stable car throughout the whole run. John Delaney definitely didn't get the start that we saw Adam Benefield get all night on that restart. Definitely didn't get pulled away from the pack like we were seeing from the 83 car, but the 63 must have found something in these past 2 pit stops. Some kind of adjustment, because the 63 looking really good up there. Then again, we heard from Adam Benefield say, I haven't shown you everything yet. I haven't shown you guys my hand. Definitely not, I'm only using like 80% of my power here, I guess. And we got the 63 car, Bryson Hicksonbaugh, definitely answering that challenge. Looks like early here in stage 3 as he looks to have found something, or maybe he's just playing one of his secret cards there.
I think for right now, it's kind of a benefit of the circumstance for Bryson. He was able to start towards the front. He raced his way all the way back up to third before the stage end. Got a good restart position there, and he was able to overtake Delaney. With Delaney's long-run car, he wasn't very quick on the restart. So the 63 is kind of up front unchallenged right now. Really the only cars that were faster than him were Delaney in the long run and Adam Benefield in the short run. So with Benefield starting in the back of the pack, having to work his way through, and Delaney's car not quite coming to life yet, Bryson just has a little bit of breathing room. He has the best car at the moment up front. He's got clean air, and until Benefield gets to him, he can kind of just run his laps.
Yep. Every little breathing room helps here, and like you said, he's got those benefits, the benefit of the circumstances. But pretty soon, in probably the next 20 laps or so, we may see a new leader in that 83 car, and we may see a Benefield of the circumstances.
Get out. Get out. Oh my God. Carlos, can we fire this man? Can we fire this man for that?
You can't fire me. Come on. Oh, man. The producers are shaking their head. I guess this may be the last one for me, y'all, if Andre has anything to say about it. But got to throw a little humor in this slog of a race.
Oh, man. Speaking of the slog of a race, it's not much of a slog for Benefield because he is already working his way up into P5, so he's got the top 5 lockdown and closing.
Definitely got a rocket of a car, and I'm sure the viewers are getting tired of us bringing them up, but man, when you got a car this dominant for a track such as Phoenix, you gotta recognize that this is crazy to see this kind of speed this early in the season out of this team, out of this car. It's gonna be a race to see who can slow down this momentum that the Team Conti has.
Absolutely, and as Benefield is slowly closing the gap to Mason Lowry, who's currently running P4. Elsewhere on the track, you got Jacob Adams still doing battle with John Delaney. I mean, these two have been pretty much bumper to bumper, not really leaving each other alone, just kind of following in each other's tire tracks. And as they do, I think they've slowly started to let Bryson get out to a little bit of a lead. It was a 27-8 for Jonathan Delaney last round and a 27-8 for Hicksenbach. So actually kind of stabilizing lap times there, evening out. But before that, it was actually about a tenth faster for Hicksenbach and a little bit slower for Delaney. So it seems like the lap times are fluctuated. And that's one of the things about this track is you're never going to see drivers click off laps that are just one after another, within the 10th consistent. You see that at mile and a half like Atlanta, Vegas, Homestead, because these tracks, the cars are relatively stable. I say relatively stable, but the Homestead race, of course, the cars were kind of loose. But at a track like this, man, not only is the track itself tough to navigate, but these high temps and how much these cars are sliding around, you're never going to hit the same mark exactly 2 times in a row. So it's kind of hard to tell and judge who's quick early on when the lap times are kind of bouncing around. And, sometimes the guy behind has a faster lap and the car ahead has a faster lap. But speaking of faster laps, Benefield has closed the gap to Mason Lowry, and now he's trying to get that P4 position. And he's being pretty patient with it. I think with the amount of speed that Benefield has, he maybe could have made that pass a little sooner. But he waited for the door to open. Looks like the 56 is going to drift up a little bit. That opens the door for Benefield. Down around the bottom of the dog leg, he's going to get into turns 3 and 4 securely in P4. It looks like we've got the 82 car down on the apron as well, just beneath them. He's making his way to pit road again, so it's probably still some damage for that machine as he's trying to finish out this rough night. And the caution's out. Caution is out. Not entirely sure what happened yet. We're going to try and identify it. And it was maybe Gilpin in the 82 car. He was already on pit road, but it looks like maybe he just wasn't at pace. It looks like he was going so slow on his way to pit road that the engine was off. You can't hear it on that onboard. He's coasting. Strange situation. I'm not sure why the engine was even shut off. It doesn't look that damaged. Really, did he get in the wall here and then... No? Oh, it exploded there, Ashton.
Yep. And just absolutely unfortunate for Jonathan Gilpin. He actually had driven his way back up into he was in 18th place there when that happened. So definitely unfortunate for a driver who's trying to get his experience here. You definitely don't want to have the equipment just blow up in smoke like that, so to speak, and take away from your track time and your experience. So a couple drivers sounded like they were kind of suspicious of that caution, but from what we see in the booth here, definitely looks like there was no intent to have that happen to the...
No, that was iRacing throwing its own caution there. There was a car down on the apron that had no power and couldn't quite make it to pit road, so the game deemed that a caution. I mean, that's going to happen. Honestly, if that's real NASCAR, that's happening as well. I mean, they're going to throw a caution because he would have been dumping oil as soon as that transmission went. So it definitely is a justified caution, but I can see why some of the drivers who maybe aren't looking at the jumbotron in the infield, why they're a little confused as to what was going on, because it was easy to miss. I myself had pointed out that Gilpin was on the apron. I didn't think he was as damaged as he was, but
so I'm going to... I had no idea why. It was just...
And as all that was cycling through, Bryson Hicksenbach decided to get tires. John Delaney decided to get tires. Jacob Adam, Adam Benefield, Mason Lowry, pretty much all the front runners made their way down pit road, getting 4 fresh good years. And ahead of them, you got the lap down cars that are going to get a wave around, spearheaded by Cody Bird in that 13 car. right-hand turn. And as soon as he gets the go-ahead, I believe he's going to try and get around that pace car, get the lap back. To wait and see, but it's going to be an interesting restart because, I mean, Benefield's there now. You know, he had a bit of a gap to try and overcome and close up. Now that gap is gone. He is right there in P4. He's
Yep.
going to be starting outside row 2.
Definitely not
And
something that the 63 of Bryson Hicksonball wants to see. He had a decent gap there, not quite as big as Adam Benefield's, but he was showing some speed like the 83 there. I mean, they were only a tenth apart in lap times at any given time. It's going to be interesting to see if maybe the 63 wasn't showing all his hand. And these two cars, we talked about last week at Vegas, you know, gambling. These guys are still playing poker up here.
absolutely. And, you know, Jonathan Delaney probably didn't want to see this caution either. With the long run car that he has, he definitely needed this thing to go green as long as possible, get everybody strung out as much as possible. And unfortunately, this yellow flag kind of throws a wrench in that because he's going to have a slower car for the first few laps here. And I think that's going to open the door for the 48 to try to get around him. The 48 starting on the low line. You got Adam Benefield right behind him. It's going to be a struggle for Delaney in that 9 car, I think, for sure.
And you almost got to wonder if maybe the 83 tries to take it high here as we get to the dog leg area and try to go around the 9 and the 63 from the high side. Maybe he makes the high side work on this restart.
That's a definite possibility. We have seen the high line come in more and more as the race has gone on. The rubber's been laid down, a little bit more grip up there. As the pace car pulls off the pit road, hopefully it doesn't pull off any magic tricks like it did before.
Oh, 9 not getting going. Held up the 83 there. 83 got a face full of the Universe car.
That he did. A little bit of wheel spin from Delaney. That actually checked up the outside lane like you had said. Now, actually, it looks like Adam Benefield's going to get to the inside of the 48 as the 48's trying to go around the outside of Delaney. Man, he is taking on fire from all fronts in that 9 car right now.
48 getting a little bit loose, bobbling it there, but definitely had an impressive run there on the outside. If he had made that stick, that would have been definitely a run. Looking like the 9 got a earful.
Oh, yellow flag again.
And you know what? We talked about this happening at the end of the race as we get closer to the end. We're still just under 100 laps out, you know, just inside of 100 laps. But
It was Hastings and Wayne Grassy. So as they're coming into turn 1, you can see Wayne Grassy is all the way down on the yellow line. And the 81, Brandon Hastings, just kind of turned down a little bit into him. Luckily, nobody got into him as he was spinning. He was able to lock up the brakes, did a good job getting that thing woed up. But I think that's not necessarily the 81 trying to pinch the 7. I think that is a case of what we've seen the 81 do all night long. That 81 has been so loose on corner entry. He probably got on the wheel there, and it started to shoot down to the left, and he probably wasn't expecting it to do that. I mean, obviously, Brandon Hastings, he's a talented driver. He's not going to come down into somebody if he has anything to say about it. So I think that car just started to get a little loose on corner entry, and he didn't have enough time to get that thing straightened out before he got into the 7.
and as he looks to head down pit road and maybe get some 4 fresh tires on that 81 machine, you can't help but think maybe frustration in the 81 driver of Brandon Hastings, just not where they expected to be 220 laps into this. Had a really fast car starting out. Maybe it went the wrong way with adjustments. You can't help but wonder, you know, where are they going wrong with this? I'm sure he's racking his brain trying to figure out what he can do to stay in some kind of contention for the top 10 here and hopefully salvage this night. But definitely unfortunate what we're seeing out of the 81 car, and in no way an indication of his level of skill as a driver.
Absolutely. And you know, that frustration builds. It really does. When a car is just that ill handling that it's just trying to wreck you at every turn, every time you make a lap as the race goes on, you're just getting more and more frustrated. You're thinking, why won't this car just do what I want it to do? Why can't it be planted? You know, why is it so sensitive? And when you try to make adjustments and nothing you throw at it seems to work, man, it is just so frustrating as a driver. So
And
I'm sure the 81 starting to get a little annoyed with the car, but again, I gotta say, for every bad race day, there's always a silver lining, and I think the silver lining for that 81 is just the fact that he was able to persevere through that ill handling car for so long, and have such a impressive top 10 run for so long. And even now, his car is not completely damaged. He's not out of the race. He's going to be able to get that thing back out there, I'm sure, if he opts to do so. So, I mean, his day might not be over.
Yep, and to top it off, I mean, you got to think these drivers. We may be in just a simulator, and these guys are doing this from the comfort of wherever they may be in their sim rigs, behind their computer desk. They've got the AC blowing, they're nice and cool compared to the heat of Phoenix. But wheeling these cars around, and I can attest to it, you get hot and sweaty pretty quick. I mean, it is quite the workout on this sim with the force feedback in your wheels that you have, like your Logitechs, your Thrustmasters. These guys, especially Brandon Hastings, fighting this car 10 times more than some of these guys, like you saw Cameron Stone earlier fighting the car. Everybody's fighting these cars. They're loose, they're all over the place, then they're tight. It's just loose, tight, loose, tight. And to have Brandon Hastings there, he's already hot, sweaty, and bothered. To top it all off, he's trying not to wreck this darn thing and bring it home in a respectable position. I mean, you got to respect what these guys do week after week in these cars and in the simulator.
Well, I might have to get a lawyer stuck on you there, Ashton, because Hot, Sweaty, and Bothered is the name of my memoir. So,
Man, I didn't know you were writing one.
Oh man. But anyways, the lights are off on the pace car, and now we've got a Benefield Hixenbaugh front row, a very familiar sight. Question is, has Hixenbaugh made some adjustments? Is he going to be able to hold off that hard charging 83? He gets on the throttle really early. They get a little bit of a gap back to Benefield as he crosses the stripe for lap 223.
Not quite the gap it's hoping for, as Benefield dives it down low here and keeps going.
He is right on that bumper.
He is already looking, trying to find a place to put a nose in, but looking like the 63 giving him a little bit of trouble, not giving him the opportune line.
Yeah, the 63 playing a little bit of defense here, and these guys, they race hard. They're two of the drivers that are always, seeming to be battling for the top spot. But there's a lot of respect between these guys. I mean, after last week at Vegas, when there was a little bit of, I'm sorry, not Vegas, the week before that, there was a little bit of contact between these two, and Benefield said, if that contact had wrecked you, Bryson, I was going to pull my car off the track and stop racing. That is how much respect there is between these guys. And they're going to race hard. They're going to give it their all, and they're not going to leave an inch, but they aren't going to do anything to wreck each other out of the race. They're not going to do anything too over the line, because these guys just respect each other too much. And I think that's what produces some of just the best racing. I mean, these guys are giving it their all, but, they're also trying to be clean about it. Adam Benefield right there, he was a little bit quicker through 3 and 4. Could he have put the bumper to Bryson, moved him up the track? Sure, he could have. But no, he's riding behind, he's biding his time, and he's waiting for that 63 to open that door up. So these two are going to continue to battle, I'm sure, for laps to come. As actually Hixenbaugh got a little bit of a better 1 and 2. He opened up about a 2-car length gap that time. And then behind them, while those guys are duking it out like they tend to do, you got Jacob Adams running P3, continuing his impressive run tonight. Not far behind the leaders. He's got quite a gap to 4th place Brian Branham. Basically now we're right behind Brian Branham. That 48 car definitely making his presence known, and giving him a few more laps, he might be up there dicing it up with the leaders as well.
Yep. Speaking of battles here on track, the 9 car trying to drive his way back up to Jacob Adams in those top 3. Almost got a bumper full of the 7 car of Wayne Grassy, as they all got bunched up in the big long sweeping turn there. And whoa, as we see Cameron Stone get into the quarter panel of the 7 car as we speak. Keeps it collected, collects it back up, keeps going, but the 7 car probably definitely not happy about that, as he thanks Cameron Stone for the contact. Definitely not passive aggressive there, but just looked like a racing in.
And we're going to take a look at the replay for Preston McRae. Looks like something happened with him as he's coming through the dog leg. He's way down on the apron, and whoa! Oh my goodness, it just got away from him, and he Holy
Managed to
goodness.
not hit anybody. Definitely impressive. Got it back going, and no caution for that. Surprisingly, I guess didn't deem it an on track hazard.
I cannot believe he kept it off the inside wall and then the outside wall. That was impressive.
And while we weren't even noticing that, yeah, Cameron Stone and Wayne Grassy getting into it. Definitely a racing incident. It looked like Cameron Stone just kind of, the 7 car was a little bit slower on entry in the corners, and Cameron Stone taking advantage of the inside line being open just a little bit. The door was open and tried to get in there, slid in, and accidentally got into that rear quarter of the 7 car. But the 7 car definitely not happy with Cameron Stone. I'm sure there won't be any repercussions for that racing incident.
Nah, it was a racing incident. I mean, Cameron Stone was down on the bottom of the track. It looks like the 7 might have come down a little bit, sort of like the 81 did to the 7. I mean, it was kind of funny. The 7 car was on the opposite side of that situation right there, whereas the 81 came down on him in the corner. He kind of turned down into Cam there. And it's nothing these drivers are doing wrong. It's just a result of the fact that these cars are so loose going into the corner that you touch the steering wheel, and before you know it, you're down to that yellow line, and it gets away from you real quick.
And not to mention, these drivers are in such close quarters to each other at this track. I mean, the lanes are pretty narrow, believe it or not, here at this track, and it's just, there's not a lot of room there. And like you said, it doesn't take much for them to slide up, or, you know, you really got to anticipate these off throttle and braking zones of the guy in front of you, the guy behind you. It's just when you're nose to tail like that, I mean, it's anybody's guess as to whether you're gonna get into somebody or make it through the turn all right in a single file order like that. So all things considered, these guys are showing some masterful control and the ability they have to correct those cars and keep them out of too much trouble is just impressive. For them to gather it back up and keep going like they have, definitely says a lot about the field. I know you talked about this league, Andre, and 100% series. Definitely making a statement here early on in their establishing themselves as an iRacing league. And just like you said about the respect thing, that's one of the things I love about this series, and the fact that the drivers, you know, whether they're fresh drivers, you know, just trying to get some experience here, like Jonathan Gilpin, or, you know, like Adam Benefield and Bryson Hixenbaugh, there's a lot of respect for each other on track. I know we hear some guys getting into it a little bit, snapping at each other, tempers flaring, but at the end of the day, the cream has risen to the top here early on in this series, and we're seeing a lot of drivers that just masterful driving, a lot of respect for each other, and that's what you want to see out of a racing series such as this.
I agree, absolutely. And at the front of the field right now, I'm a little impressed that Bryson Hixenbaugh is actually able to open up the gap a little bit, about 2 car lengths back to Adam Benefield. You've been watching this sort of race unfold on your screen there, and it seems like whatever the 63 has done to that car, he's figured out the short run speed a little bit, and he's able to kind of match the 83's corner speed. The only place that Benefield seems to have the advantage right now is on corner exit. It seems like sometimes he can get on that throttle just a little bit sooner. He has a little bit less wheel spin, so he's got that torque applied, and he's able to get out of that corner and really, get those runs. But doesn't really have anywhere to go with them. I mean, he's not quite getting to the quarter panel. He's not quite getting inside. So Bryson Hixenbaugh just running smooth laps, holding his line, making sure not to open up the door. And you can see right there through the corner that time, Benefield, he got down onto the apron a little bit through 1 and 2. He kind of clipped that left front down to the apron, obviously trying to find something. I don't know if he was trying to get beneath the 63 for the clean air. He was trying to use the apron to rotate, which is something you can do in turn 1. If you clip that apron just a little bit, it'll help you turn. Problem is, sometimes it'll help you turn too much, so you got to be careful doing that. But Benefield was able to clip it. He kept going around the corner just fine. He's going to do it again right there. He's really running that yellow line, and it seems to be working in the center. But when he does that, it looks like the 63 is getting better runs out.
Yep, and you're looking at these lap times, and like I said earlier, they were within, Adam Benefield was maybe 1/10 quicker than Bryson Hixenbaugh. You look at the lap times the last time around, we're looking at 28.071 from Bryson and 28.082 from Adam Benefield, so they are almost neck and neck here. No ground being given by either of these drivers. Definitely, if Bryson can keep this up, I think maybe Adams met his match here in the closing laps of this race. We may see a heck of a battle for this, depending on so many variables: the tire wear, the long run, who's gonna have the better long run car, and just all these lap cars that are soon to be coming up, sooner rather than later.
I think Benefield might be starting to feel the effects of his tire wear because when he comes out of turn 1, every so often, he's not doing it every lap, but every so often I'm listening to his engine and he's kind of giving the throttle a double tap, where he'll get on the throttle for just a split second and feel the car out, like testing the waters as if there's, trying to see if there's grip down there, and then immediately getting right back on it, just giving that throttle a quick blip, and then boom, on the throttle, he's out of the corner. And so I'm not sure if he's doing that as a means of just testing out the grip, or if maybe he's trying to get that torque applied. And it's interesting, but it seems to be working because I think turn 1 and 2 is his better section of the track, whereas 3 and 4 Bryson gets to run out of the corner a little bit better. So these drivers definitely excelling at different parts of the track, but overall it's kind of equaling out because where one driver stumbles a little bit, the other one picks up the slack. So the gap opening up just a little bit more between them, about 3 car lengths now, whereas it was about 2 car lengths a couple laps ago. We do have a little bit of lap traffic in the mix, and that's going to be Preston McRae. In just a few laps, they're going to get up to that 53 car. We're going to see if that plays into the situation at all.
How about this? If you take a look back, we see the 74 and the 56 of Brian Branham and Mason Lowry, respectively, finally breaking the top 5 here. And definitely surprising to see Brian Branham up here. Not to say that he's not a good driver by any means, but haven't seen him inside the top 5, and here he is capitalizing on quite a few things, a couple cautions, and still looking pretty solid with 28.4 that last lap was his lap time, and he's holding off young John Delaney here and quite a few other drivers as he's solidly in 4th.
So how about that, man? I mean, he misses the start, has to start from pit road, and now he's running inside the top 5 pretty comfortably.
I mean, heck, maybe that's part of the strategy. I'll have to try. I will definitely have to try that next time I get out on track. I'm gonna have to start from pit road. Maybe it's a special mindset puts you in.
You start from pit road, it's go time. You gotta make up that gap so you drive a little bit harder. I don't know, but definitely a good showing for Brian Branham, and I'm sure he's happy to have it. He's had some tough luck these last few races, but now seems to be overcoming that and definitely letting that talent shine through up there in the top 5. So currently trying to run down Jacob Adams, and actually last time around Jacob Adams was about a 10th faster. And the lap before that, it was Brian Branham that had the advantage. So these guys kind of evening out, and I think as this run goes on, we're going to see where each car shakes out in terms of how well they handle the tire wear, and we're just going to have to watch that play out. But speaking of watching things play out, the leaders have navigated the traffic, and the gap is pretty much the same. Looks like the 63 is actually getting a little bit looser through the corners now, Ashton. You can see him going to the corner, and especially in the middle, that car just wants to kick out sideways a little bit. But despite that, it's not really losing any time to Benefield. So maybe a setup change on that 63 is kind of what can be attributed to this increase in performance.
Yeah, we're trying. I'm trying to look at the two, and I'm trying to see where in the lap there's just that difference. Just trying to see, and it looks like the 63 might be just slightly off that line. We talked about Adam Benefield really hitting that apex, hugging that inside line, but as we see him do it right there, and that seems to be the difference. And we have another caution.
Looks like maybe Cameron Stone involved. Gonna have to see if we can get a replay here.
And we saw Cameron Stone doing really well right before that, but looking like he just drove it in pretty hot here. Looking like he kind of got loose on exit behind Mason Lowry there and slid down into the dog leg. Didn't hit it
all night.
That is definitely.
Go ahead.
You hear Bryson Hicksonbaugh on the radio. He's kind of joking, but he's actually kind of serious. There goes the green flag pit strategy a little bit. It definitely throws a wrench in these guys' plans, and this is everybody's going to pit road this time for fresh tires. looking like the 81 actually blew his engine there.
Yeah, like I said earlier in the race, if the 81 keeps getting into the wall and sliding around like that, that damage will accumulate. And it seems like that's what happened, unfortunately. But with everybody coming down pit road, this to me this means two things. Number one, these guys are good to the end. We're on lap 250. This race is 312 laps, so they're going to have roughly 62 laps to go, which is well within the fuel window. The tires, of course, are going to be pretty well shot within that lap range, but they'll be able to make it nonetheless. And number two, this is disastrous for John Delaney, who we know has a long run car. He needed this thing to go green. And I was going to say earlier, I didn't get to talk about it, but when we were looking at John Delaney a little bit further back in the pack, um, it seemed like he was comfortable back there because he knew he was going to get that long run. And unfortunately, that has been cut short. But we're going to actually see if we can pull John Delaney down into the booth. Maybe have a quick word with him. If I can get it to scroll. I think one of you guys is gonna have to bring him down. I can't quite get it to scroll. A little bit of technical difficulties. It wouldn't be a broadcast if we didn't have Discord difficulties because of their broken scrolling mechanics.
There
But
we go.
John Delaney, you got a copy?
Yeah, I do. Let's do.
John, we wanted to have a word with you because this caution, I think, is going to throw a little bit of a wrench into your strategy. You've had a long run car all night, definitely the fastest car on the track if the race goes green long enough. But now you got a 62 lap shootout or so until the end, or roughly about 60 laps. How you feeling about the rest of this race going forward?
I don't know. Bryson's good the first 20 to 30 laps, so I think I can get past him after that. He's not the most of my concerns at the moment, but the main one's Adam. He's really good for 50 or so laps, and then he falls off real hard the last couple from like lap 60 on. So I feel like to have a shot, I just needs to go green the entire way, so no cautions. But yeah, that caution really screwed up my strategy there. I thought I had it won there with that strategy.
It was
Yep.
unfortunate that came out. Go ahead, Ashton.
Definitely impressive what we've seen on these long runs from you. Love seeing that Universe car up near the front. I'm partial to the 9 myself, so looking like you're trying to break this third place streak here. You think you can figure it out tonight? Maybe hopefully everything goes your way and the chips fall right and you actually pull it off, young John?
Yeah, we're about to go green here, but yeah, I think I should have a chance at second, maybe even first. But if worst comes to worst, I'll fit.
All right, John, we're going to let you back up in your booth. Sorry, this went a little bit longer than we expected, but good luck going forward. Caution laps, man, they fly by. Anyways, pace car is going to make that hard left turn, and again, Bryson.
The 60.
Yeah.
I think he took a page out of the 83's book on these restarts. I mean, we said it was going to happen. Adam wasn't going to be the only one to launch on these restarts because you want that you want all that pressure off you when you make these turns, especially that last turn coming to the line. Definitely tightens up down there.
Yeah, he got on the throttle even sooner than I think the last restart. Now, 48 is actually trying to get around Benefield. He got a great turn 3 and 4. He was able to get down to the quarter panel. Then the 83 actually got the better run out, so he was able to get clear. But I don't think that battle's over yet. This 48 car has shown some pace all night long, and now he is right there with Benefield.
As we see Brian Branham get loose a little bit coming out of there, coming out of the dog leg in that turn there, holding up young John Delaney. But yeah, this battle for second is far from over as the 48 definitely trying to find the line that's going to catch him up to the back bumper of that 83. He's definitely learned a lot as this race has gone on, and I think he's finally applying it as we get into the closing 50 or 60 laps here.
The race is winding down. It is go time. So, I mean, this 48 car, maybe like Adam Benefield, he hasn't shown us his whole hand. He could have just been using 80% of his power, like you said, and now now he's going all out just this once, and he is definitely turning some good laps. I mean, 26.99 last time around. It was 26.8 for Adam Benefield, 26.7 for Bryson Hixenbaugh. So really quick lap for Bryson that came out. I don't think we've seen a 26.7 in quite a while.
can't help but think that Bryson's probably found something here in the closing laps. When he didn't sound like he was very confident going into this race compared to Adam, but maybe just playing a little sleight of hand here.
Absolutely. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast that when Benefiel and Bryson had run NIS earlier in the week, they split together. And what Bryson told me immediately after that race was Team Conti is in a zip code of their own. So not just Adam Benefiel, but all of Team Conti as a whole. He said was just really strong in that race, and he didn't expect to have much for them going into this weekend. But it seems like he's found something. And what's interesting to me is it seems that he's found it late in this race. Early on, he was struggling. He was back there running 8th, 9th for a little while. And of course, he had that pit strategy that put him all the way back in the field. He was able to race back up through the field, unlap himself, get back up that podium position in 3rd place. And then through the restart, he was able to kind of hold that top spot. But I think you and I both, Ashton, we were expecting Benefield to kind of take the lead and drive away with it once he got back up to the front of the field. But this has been an ongoing battle with just nearly identical pace between the two. I mean, nearly 40 or 50 laps roughly of these guys racing it out, and not much difference in pace.
Yep, definitely neck and neck here it would seem. And like you said, Bryson Hicksonball is saying, "Oh man, they're in a zip code of their own," but it looks like he has found the golden ticket to enter that zip code and give them a challenge for these Team Conti guys.
That is the beauty of pit road adjustments and things that you can do during the race, even your brake bias adjustments, which I believe you can change the brake bias in the car while you're driving it, and that is a huge adjustment here. You go to a track like Las Vegas or Homestead or Auto Club, brake bias doesn't mean as much, because you're not really using the brakes that much at a mile and a half. But you come here, and you're going to roll into the brakes a little bit going into the corner early on in the run, and then as the run goes on, tires get more worn, then you're really going to start using your brakes. And changing your brake bias can completely change how that car feels through the corner. If you have a lot of rear brake bias, the car is going to feel a little bit looser. If you have a lot of front brake bias, the car is going to feel tighter. And that can completely alter how you run your lines, what lines you have to run, and it'll affect your lap time. So these guys can kind of play with that brake bias, adjust it while they're making their laps, and feel it out. Put it on 75% rear, feel out the lap times, and if they're not up to par, maybe bump it up 5% towards the front, see how that is. And I got to think maybe that's part of what Bryson's been doing.
Yeah, and I definitely think that would make a world of a difference here, and that could have been something he was testing all throughout stage 1 and 2, because we saw definitely 2 different stages from that 63 car, and here we're seeing he's maybe figured that out. And I would definitely put money on it that these drivers are changing that brake bias constantly throughout the race, constantly making adjustments, lap after lap, even turn by turn basis in this race. Definitely seems to be working out for the 63 car. Maybe he's just hoping he wears the 83's tires out here, trying to get around him, trying to catch up to him. He knows that once that 83 gets around him, I'm sure, like John Delaney was making observations all night, this guy's good for almost a whole fuel and tire run before he starts falling off a cliff when it comes to performance. So maybe just trying to wear out those tires, heat up that rubber on the 83 car, and hopefully he slips up here and has nothing to show for it.
And that is the trade-off that Benefield has kind of been facing all night long. He's definitely one of, if not the fastest cars on the track for nearly the entire fuel run. But the cost of that is that with about 10 or 15 to go in the fuel run, his car falls off more than anybody else's. As he's going to get real deep into the corner, Bryson slid up a little bit, opened the door. The 83 decided to send it in to see if maybe he could get there. He didn't quite, but that could be indicative of what's going on here. Looks like the 83 has been applying the pressure a little bit more these last few laps. He's been right on the bumper. And, Benefield said he wasn't showing us his whole hand. Maybe he wasn't showing Bryson his whole hand, but laps are winding down. He doesn't need to lead the race right now, but it is getting close to the end. He's just got so much more entry speed as he nearly puts the bumper to Bryson. You can see when they go into the corner, that 83 is just getting on the brakes about 50 or 60 feet later, and that's what's making the difference.
Yep, and as he closes up there, you can't help but wonder if maybe maybe when we get to the last lap, if he's there, he puts that bumper to the 63 and just washes him up enough, not to wreck him, but, respectfully, give him the old short track shove and say, hey, it's my turn.
Absolutely.
I need to lead the lap that counts, and I'm going to have to calmly ask you to step to the side.
Gentle push out of the way. I mean, that's the thing. You could lead 311 laps, but if you don't lead the 312th lap, then you're not walking away with a trophy. So Benefield knows that. These guys all know that, and sometimes it's a better option just to take care of your car. And honestly, I think if I'm Benefield, as Bryson blinks out of the water there for a minute. If I'm Benefield, I'm thinking. I know my car falls off really hard after about 50 to 60 laps. If I ride behind Bryson and match his pace, maybe my car doesn't fall off like that. Maybe my car stays the best car on the track all the way through the fuel run. So he could just be taking care of his stuff right now.
As we see, Patrick Mush has taken that 46 machine behind the wall. I think they are calling it a night here.
Yeah, he's going to go to the garage. I think that he might have been involved in something with Tim Rail earlier. I did hear across the radio, Tim Rail said, "Thanks, 46." And it sounded a little sarcastic. I don't think he was genuinely thanking him for anything. So might have had something to do with that. I'm not entirely sure. But regardless, Patrick Much's night ends in a very similar fashion to some other guys who had some bad luck tonight. And this short track, man, it has been, well, not really a short track. This intermediate track has been kind of unforgiving for a lot of the field tonight.
Sounds like a little bit of back and forth between Adam Benefield and the 63 driver Bryson Hixenbaugh. Sounded like Adam Benefield maybe pointing out that Bryson was blinking there, maybe trying to say, hey, you're blinking, try to get him, a little rattled there, saying, keep blinking, you might have to pull it down out of the way.
I'm sure Benefield's on the radio going, "Yeah, you're blinking all over the place. You better just let me by so you don't wreck me. You better just let me take that lead real quick."
Oh, I'm sure as laps run down, you want to win this fair and square. And I'm not saying that's not fair and square, but at the same time, the drivers are going to pull out every stop they can to get that little bit of edge. I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures, and we're in the desert. Things are hot. The drivers' tempers and everything else are also heated. We are just in a huge heat wave here at Phoenix Raceway.
And Bryson did legitimately blink. He's blinked a few times tonight. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with his connection, but it seems like his internet's been kind of chugging a little bit throughout the night. And on your screen right now, or at least I believe so, my feed's a little bit behind. You're looking at the battle between the 48 and the 9 car. That's going to be Jacob Adams and Jonathan Delaney. They're kind of in a battle of their own. And Delaney, of course, he doesn't want to be in third, but he wants to be in third. So he was able to get around that 48. Now, Ashton, this is when we see the 9 car come to life. We're getting a little bit further in the run. 100%. Not third again. That's what he's saying in that car right now. But he is slowly running down these leaders. He was actually about a tenth faster than Benefield and Bryson last time around. So, I don't know. Delaney sneaking up there.
Yeah, and you can't help but wonder if maybe he just made a slight adjustment on that last pit stop. He knew that this long run thing wasn't going to necessarily work out like he was hoping for, so trying to keep that long run car, but at the same time kind of balance it out and have a little bit more of a moderate to shorter run speed here, as he bobbles it a little bit there on exit of the turn. So definitely needs to be careful here in the closing laps if he's going to do anything to catch up with these two. But we might see as they come to lap traffic. We saw this before. Bryson Hixenbaugh, Adam Benefield battling for that lead. They caught lap traffic, and, Jonathan Delaney was close enough. He closed the gap and said, hey, I'm here. So we might see something like that again in the closing laps. I mean, we're at not too many laps left. So unless there's another caution, heaven forbid for some of these drivers hoping it stays green, especially John Delaney being one of them. And I'm sure Bryson Hixenbaugh wanting it to stay green. Definitely going to be interesting to see how it shakes out, Andre.
don't know if Bryson wants it to stay green or not, honestly. It seems like he's got a lot of short run speed. Like, he can hold off Benefiel on these short runs, and then things seem to equalize a little bit as the race goes on. But Jonathan Delaney, again, that time around was actually a tenth faster than both of the leaders. It was a 28.224 for Delaney, 28.325 for Benefiel, 28.392 for the leader. So of the three cars currently leading the pack, Delaney was the fastest, and that is a trend that has been pretty much continuing for the last 10 or so laps. He is closing the gap. Once he gets there, the question is going to be whether or not he can make the pass. I mean, getting to him is one thing, passing is another. And I think we've seen all night, passing is extremely difficult. And sometimes you just have to wait for the driver ahead to either make a mistake or you got to straight up move the guy. I mean, just trying to make that pass on the bottom here, the car wants to get out from underneath you. It gets so loose that you can't always reliably get to the bottom and make that run. So
absolutely. I mean, we saw drivers. I mean, we saw veteran drivers like Cameron Stone and others. Just they try making these passes down low, and the car just upsets out of nowhere. You weren't expecting. You're like, man, I've been driving this thing for 40 laps, and it's never done anything like that before. Why now? You know, it just happens as we see Bryson Hixenbaugh slide a little bit there in the corner. Didn't lose too much speed as Adam kind of spins the tires coming out of exit. It just seems like Bryson, all things considered, with his entry and maybe sliding up, bobbling it, he just has that better, smoother drive out of the corner there, and that's where he's keeping the edge over Adam Benefield here.
But neither of these drivers with an edge over Delaney, who, again, last time around, both the leaders running 23.4s and Delaney running a 23, or I'm sorry, a 28.4, not a 23. That would be absurd. A 28.4 for both the leaders and a 28.3 for Delaney. So he's still about a tenth faster than both the leaders, and it doesn't seem like his pace is falling off at all.
We can only expect that to probably grow as he's got that long run car. You know, we're not that close to the end here. There's still plenty of laps left. That these front two drivers got to be thinking that, man, that 9 car, he's getting closer, and he's got that long run speed, and they know what he's done in the previous stage with that long run car, and they've got lap traffic in front of them. They got to be getting, they got to be on their toes here, because he could be there sooner rather than later, and this could easily go from a 2-car breakaway to a 3-car battle for the lead in a second flat, as John Delaney is close to that second or less gap between him and the leaders.
And this bad news for Bryson Hixenbaugh. He is starting to fade away a little bit. That car is getting really sideways through 1 and 2. When he gets to the center of the corner, you can see that right rear tire just start to slip out a little bit. And that car is really trying to fight him, and that's allowing Benefield to close the gap hugely. Every time they get to 3 and 4, Benefield can send it in just a little bit deeper. He gets to the bumper. Right now, Bryson can play defense and he can hold him off, but I think that is probably a result of Adam Benefield playing nice. Right now, he doesn't necessarily need to pass him. He can check up when the 63 checks up. But when we get down to the last few laps here, I don't think the 83 is going to play so nice. I mean, he could definitely, put the bumper to him and move him, not wreck him or anything like that, but just put the bumper to him, slide him up the track a little bit. As the 63 loose into the corner, the 83 has to check up a lot right there. Man, oh man, that 63 is fading right now. It looks like.
And you may not even have to see the bumper used here. Adam Benefield, he probably definitely sees this car in front of him getting loose. He's already formulating, when and where he's going to make his move. He sees that 13 car of Cody Berg coming up. Definitely thinking about doing what he did back in stage 2, where he uses that lap car as a pick and easily gets around this 63 as the car kind of fades there, and capitalize on what little momentum he has. And that's something that John Delaney doesn't want to see either, because if they can keep Adam Benefield pinned here, maybe they keep him from pulling away with a sizable lead. And if Jonathan Delaney can get around him, that's just another car Adam Benefield has to get around. You can't help but wonder that maybe Benefield isn't using all his equipment and is just waiting to get that lead and just drive off with it a little bit here in the closing laps, trying to save those tires a little bit.
It's a firm possibility, but as that 9 car closes in, little by little, lap after lap, I almost wonder if maybe that wouldn't be the best thing for Bryson, is if the 9 car got up there and started battling with Adam Benefield, because at that point it would slow down the 9 and the 83 and allow the 63 to kind of build up a bit of a gap and kind of drive away while those guys are battling it out. Because right now, as it stands, I'm not sure how much more defense he can play. Benefield is so strong through 3 and 4. The amount of rotation speed that he has in the center is just unparalleled by anybody else in the field, including the leader, Bryson Nixonbaugh. So right now, I think him getting involved in a battle, if Benefield got involved in a fight with a 9 car, a fight on track, not a pit road fight, a fight on track with a 9 car, that would be the best thing for Bryson, I think, as they get into some more lap traffic ahead.
I was gonna say, you never know. By the end of this race, you might see that fight on pit road. We'll just have to see how the closing laps shape out, as we have close to 20 or so to go. Definitely getting to that make or break moment.
Yeah, the laps are winding down, and 20. I believe we got about 22 laps to go, and that is 22 and a tenth laps to go, and that's not very much here at Phoenix. I mean, this is an intermediate track, 1 mile around. Lap times are pretty quick, sub 30 seconds up until the end of a tire run. So definitely go time, man. These guys don't have time to mess around and play anymore. This is where you start making those overtakes. This is where you start pushing the car a little bit past its limits and giving everything it's got. As we now ride on board with Adam Benefield, you can see ride intervals in the bottom right of your screen. He is just that's that rotation speed right there, Ashton, that I'm talking about. You see in 3 and 4 how much he closes it up, and he doesn't even give it up on exit. He's got enough grip to really get on the throttle on exit.
Yep, and you can't help but wonder if maybe he's putting that pressure on Bryson on purpose. Probably most definitely at this point trying to put the pressure on him and have him slip up there so he can just make this task so much easier on his car and his tires and equipment, so he doesn't have to accidentally spin the tires. Because as you get closer and closer to the end of the race here, Adam Benefield, he's been riding so patiently behind Bryson Nixonbaugh, I'm sure, waiting for his moment to capitalize on a mistake. But you can't help but wonder, all it takes is one time. We've seen time and time again at this track tonight, just spin those tires way too much coming out of that corner that he's so good at, and all of a sudden he's just not good at the best corner that he's had all night.
And there it is. There's the bump. 83
did not work.
Tried to move the 63, didn't quite work out.
This 9 car definitely getting excited seeing this happening in front of him. He's hoping they both kind of slide up and he gets a little bit of a big open silver platter handed to him here. I'm sure he's definitely not happy with third.
To issue a correction, earlier in the race, at one point we had talked about the 09 car nearly avoiding a wreck. We said it was piloted by Damaris Hickenbottom. Normally on any other week it is. This is actually driven by Dan Fields this week. The 09 is Dan Fields. I'm getting worded that Damaris was actually suspended after last week for some offense or another. And he has a fill-in driver in Dan Fields. So I was actually completely unaware of this. I think we all were. So that's just a quick correction of mine. And contact.
83 gets the bumper into 63. The 9.
And there goes Delaney.
The 9 capitalizes, but will he be able to hold off Adam Benefield as they collect it up, get it going again? The 63 probably definitely not happy with that, as he tried to get back to the bumper of the 83. I can only think that maybe he's got a little bit of a return shot in mind, as he hints at something like that over the radio. Definitely got to be careful. Definitely got to be careful with your words there. You don't want to say retaliation. That could get you the book thrown at you. But
absolutely,
maybe he just loses some grip going into a corner, and just, you never know.
But we'll just have to see what happens. But Jonathan Delaney is pulling away from Benefield ever so slightly. Benefield getting a little bit of a rotation speed through 3 and 4, but that 9 car right now is looking really strong. And there's only a little bit of racing left. I mean, we're on lap 298 out of 312. He's got about 15 laps to go at the stripe this time.
Honestly, you can't help but wonder if maybe that paid off with Bryson holding up Benefield, his tires, just aren't what they were, and we heard John Delaney talk about it. 50, 60 laps into the run, or 50 laps in the run, Adam Benefield's good. As soon as he reaches 60 or so laps, immediately just drops completely out from underneath him. He's
Absolutely.
struggling with it, and maybe we've hit that threshold for Adam Benefield, and we're going to see John Delaney pilot this thing for the next 15 or so laps. But absolutely, we talked about it possibly happening, and sure enough, 2 laps later, that's all it takes. Adam Benefield came in there with a head of steam. Probably wasn't expecting Bryson to check up as much as he did that time. Bryson definitely was easier on it going into that corner than he normally is, and that's probably because he saw lap after lap he was drifting up off that line, and maybe giving Adam Benefield too much of an opportunity to capitalize on it, and just unfortunate that they both were expecting different things and kind of got into it there.
Speaking of Bryson, he's driving that car really hard right now. He's getting really sideways through the corner. It's not really working out. He's lapping slower than Adam Benefield, but I think he's driving it hard because he's trying to get up to him. I'm pretty sure he's not very happy with that bump. I believe I didn't hear it exactly. It was kind of muffled, but it sounded like Bryson came across the radio when that happened and said he can't be doing that every race, because obviously they did have that contact a couple weeks ago, and it was a very similar situation. So maybe Bryson's starting to get a little bit tired of the bumps. I mean, he didn't, Benefield didn't wreck him, but he did bump him. And you do that enough to a guy, and eventually they're going to get frustrated. So we'll just see.
That's uncharacteristic for Bryson. For as long as I've known him, the past few years, he's just been so cool, calm, and collected. We even joked that he's almost robot-like. If anything, he has to have that 100% human on his description, because otherwise we couldn't tell. But you'd think he was driving a calm race for most of this race, but it's definitely starting to sound like tensions are boiling over, and that's something you don't want this early in the season. And he's definitely driving angry now, as you can see, and it's not working out to his advantage. He was definitely running a better race definitely a few laps ago before that contact, and now it's just I think the tires are worn out, his patience is worn out, and we may see some after race festivities here at Phoenix.
Perhaps, but Benefield is gaining on the leader, so with not too many laps remaining, this gap is slowly closing. You see it's kind of being traded off. Delaney's faster one lap, then Benefield, then Delaney, but these last 2 laps consecutively, Benefield has actually been faster, so possibly making a late race rush at it, trying to get to that number 9 car. Again, I don't think Benefield burned up his equipment too bad. I think spending all that time riding behind Bryson probably helped him conserve. He wasn't using, to quote you there, he wasn't using 100% of his power, and that was able to help save his tires and keep him cool. And now, late into the run, where he would normally be fading, his car is probably feeling a little bit better than it has historically on these long runs. So he's got about, at the line, it's about half a second gap to Delaney that he's got to close up.
And you got
0.6 seconds that time, but that's not much.
You got to think the heart rates of these 2 drivers are probably up there now, because the adrenaline's pumping, and it's just going to be a battle to see, who keeps calm and maintains control and hits their marks here, because it's going to be all about hitting marks here. As you see John Delaney drive a little bit of a higher line there, maybe trying to get a deeper exit right there. It seems to work out for him, as you got the young rookie driver versus a guy with a lot of experience in the sim, a lot of experience behind the wheel from Team Conti. It's going to be interesting to see who this goes to, but we're coming down to 5 laps to go, so it's going to be an interesting 5 laps for sure.
And again, just a lot of speed from Adam Benefield in turns 3 and 4. That is where he is fastest. That's where you can really close that gap up, as Delaney gets a little bit loose. That's going to close the gap up about another 1/10, so Delaney losing a little bit of his lead there. Benefield closing up, coming through turns 1 and 2. That's where Delaney's strong. Delaney's a little bit quicker through the center and on exits, so he's able to extend that gap. And as we ride on board, what you're going to see as we come into 3 and 4 is Benefield's going to close this gap hugely coming into 3 and 4. He brakes so much later, rotates so smoothly through the center, and just brings that gap down to basically nothing. And then, of course, trades off at the other end of the track. Now, Benefield got a little loose that time, so he actually didn't quite close in as much as he had the prior lap. Number 9 car running his line a little bit higher through 1 or 2. And it seems like Benefiel isn't really trying to emulate the 9 car's line. You know, sometimes when you're chasing a guy down, you start doing whatever he's doing just because, you know, he's fast, so why don't I try it? But honestly, that mindset can sometimes be counterintuitive because you're trying to be faster than the guy ahead, not just as fast. So Benefiel running a lower line, trying to do everything he can to close this gap. And it's not quite working. It's still about 0.6 seconds. It was down as close as 0.4. Now it's back up to 0.6. We're on lap 310 out of 312. So we got about 2.5 laps of racing remaining in a 0.6 second gap. And caution has flown.
Oh, man.
No. Oh, no.
That's something John Delaney does not want to see.
Teammates Cameron Stone, Kevin Steele seem to be involved.
And that may have just put all the pressure on John Delaney, who thought he had this handed to him on a silver platter.
Man, I don't know how this is going to shake out. This is going to be wild. As we take a look at the replay, Cameron Stone rounding turns 3 and 4, a little bit loose, overcorrects it, down into the inside. No, not into the inside wall.
Oh, man.
Man,
He had a lot of, even while sideways, had a lot of speed and momentum in that car because he was still trying to maintain speed and hopefully get her straightened out. And that's just unfortunate for Kevin Steele, who ran a really good race here, was in the top 10 all night. Has a blown engine.
Meanwhile, on pit road, Delaney has damage. Adam Benefiel just rammed him. Adam Benefiel slammed him in the rear going into pit road.
Yeah, and it looked like John Delaney maybe checked up a little bit more there, trying to make pit road entry speed.
And John Delaney got a black flag because he got pushed.
Oh, man. Definitely
Are you kidding me?
Definitely not happy with Adam Benefiel there.
I tell you what, I don't think Benefield made any friends in the garage today.
Yep, and you got to think, if John Delaney hadn't got that black flag.
And I like Benefield. I do. I like Benefield, man, but he made no friends today.
Yeah, definitely not running a smooth race here, if you would call it, for lack of a better word. And yep. But John Delaney gonna get penalized for that. But Bryson Hicksonbaugh gonna beat Adam Benefield off pit road, possibly.
I believe he did. I could be wrong, as it looks like Benefield is ahead on track.
And you got to think that now that Bryson's got the fresh tires, he's right there. If John Delaney had maintained the lead, I don't know if Adam would have been able to catch John Delaney, because Bryson's definitely got something planned in store for Adam Benefield here in this green-white checkered finish.
The lights are off on the pace car, it looks like. Nope, lights are on. Man, that's just a crazy situation for Jonathan Delaney. I just can't get over that. I mean, imagine going from leading the race, pretty much got the win in the bag, caution flies, and then somebody pushes you into pit road too fast, you get black flagged, and your day is done. I mean, God, that is just wild.
And
he has damage.
And if I were John Delaney, I probably would have been sitting kind of pretty going into that caution, going into that restart, because I would have been thinking, well, you know, you've got Bryson back there. He's not happy with the guy behind me, so I just got to keep this guy behind me for a restart, couple laps until the 63 can give him the what for, and then it's smooth sailing for me for that last final lap. But now it just, unfortunately, I think John Delaney's day is unfortunately over. I don't think he is in fourth now, but I don't think the rear end damage is going to serve him well. But then again, we saw some of these guys with way worse damage drive up through the field.
He also might have got a drive-through for that speeding. I'm not exactly sure which penalty he got. He did. So I'm not sure what his situation is, but I'm also a little curious as to. I think Benefield is the control car going into this restart, which is surprising to me because on my screen it really looked like the 63 had beat him to the line, exiting pit road, but I guess that was not the case. So Benefield is going to be the control car as they make their way out of turns 3 and 4. The pace car lights are off. It's going to make that hard left turn.
be an exciting restart because you know that they're not going to let this 83 drive away with it.
Yeah,
You've
might not
several
might not have
drivers.
a choice in this situation. 83 with a fantastic start right there, and Bryson Nixonbaugh right in tow. It's going to be white flag next time around. As they make their way through the dog leg, Bryson Nixonbaugh not far behind. He's going to send it in.
Puts the
Give him a
bump.
little bit of a bump, not a hard enough bump to get him sideways. They're going to come out of 3 and 4, half a car length between them. White flag is flown as Delaney makes his way down pit road, possibly to serve a penalty. Bryson Nixonbaugh taking a higher entry into turn 1. He's going to get the run out of the corner. Heading into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. The question is there retaliation? Does the 83 get moved?
Oh,
Bryson sent it in, couldn't quite get to him. And that is going to be Adam Benefiel making his way out of turn 4. He is going to win at Phoenix.
what a finish. And 48 getting a second place finish here.
48 pulling in a clutch second place finish. A great night for Jacob Adams after pretty much everything that went down.
As you see the 63 definitely showing that he is not happy with that 83 car. I'm sure words will be exchanged post race between the two.
I would imagine, but
Interviews are going to be interesting, boys. Definitely going to be some controversial takes on the finish of this race. But
probably.
how about Jacob Adams in that 48? He stayed in position all night. He saw the move happen. He probably knew it was coming between those two drivers, and got a second place out of the deal. Not bad for just one of, I think it was his second start, if I'm not mistaken.
I agree. To round out your finishing order for tonight, Adam Benefiel takes the win. Jacob Adams second. Bryson Nixonbaugh in third. Brian Branham in fourth. Mason Lowry is going to be right at the top 5. Chad Edwards in P6. Wayne Grassy 7th. Preston McRae 8th. Craig Fryer 9th. Jonathan Delaney 10th. The rest of the field from 10th on back is going to be, let's see, Cody Berg finishing 11th. Tim Rail, Kevin Steele, Cameron Stone, Dan Fields, Ryan McDaniel, Patrick Much, Brandon Hastings, Jonathan Gilpin, Charles Eaton, Jacob Kraus, Dustin Hall, Bryce Hoffman, and we're not going to forget him, rounding out your field in P24, Dalton Mobley. That is your finishing order after tonight's events at Phoenix. And
Definitely a heated race out here in the desert. Phoenix not disappointing once again. Can't wait to interview our top 3 drivers and see what their take is on this finish. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions in the garage and in the field, throughout the field, on how this race.
Absolutely. We're going to bring in Delaney before we get to our top 3, if we can find him in the chat. I might need... All right, Jonathan Delaney, you got a copy? John, you got a copy? All right, John is away from the mic. We'll get back to that. We'll move him over. But we're going to try and get our top 3 finishers. That would be Bryson Nixonbaugh in third, Jacob Adams second, and of course your winner, Adam Benefiel. So we're going to work on that shortly. Bryson Nixonbaugh, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got it. I got you.
To say the least, that was an eventful last 15 or so laps. And of course, the caution came out, shook everything up. Walk me through the end of that race.
Yeah, well, I knew I didn't have the long run speed to really hold him off, so I was real surprised to be in the lead there, 40 laps into the run. I knew that at some point I was going to get moved. Adam was the fastest on the short run, but John was the fastest on the long run. So once John caught us, Adam needed to move me, or John was going to win. And of course, when he did move me, he ended up letting John by anyway, so it didn't really change much. But yeah, before that, it was just hold on as long as I could, and I was sending it into turn 3, trying to keep it as far ahead of him as possible. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, it was, like I said, an unfortunate turn of events. When you got moved, I mean, what was going through your mind? Was that a frustrating moment, or was that kind of I saw this coming?
Well, I saw it coming. I'm still frustrated at it. I At the time, right after in turn one, I almost got back to him because I was gonna hit him right there, just for payback there, because he really sent it into the corner, but couldn't quite get there. And then after that, it was just hoping that something would happen at the end, and it did.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank for your third place finish?
Yeah, thanks to all the guys at Highside and LMM working on the setup a lot this week. We did a lot of practice sessions trying to get ready for this and a little bit of experiments here. I ended up not using the best setup available. I think I could have won outright in that last stage if I had chosen the better setup, but I decided to do a last minute change, and that didn't work out for me.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Bryson. Congratulations on your P3, and good luck going forward.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, we're going to try John one more time before we move up to P2. Jonathan Delaney, you got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
John, I don't have much to say other than that was just a heartbreaking end. You got around both of them. Everything seemed to be lining up, and then the caution flew.
I don't have much to say either. It was just very unfortunate that that happened. Yeah, I was wheeling it at the end there. I think I had it locked down if it would have went green. Adam is sticking with us a bit there, but yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate, and sometimes better to say not much at all. I understand your frustration for sure. That was a heck of an event to watch in the booth. I don't think any of us saw that coming, especially when we actually seen the replay and seen that it was Cameron Stone sliding into his teammate, of all people, that brought that out. So it was just a crazy situation. But we're sorry your race ended like that, John. If there's anything to take away from it, though, man, you were bad fast out there all day long. Seems like every week you come and you got the best long run car, and one of these weeks it's going to pay off for you, bud.
Yeah, let's hope so.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, John. We're going to let you back to your team there, and we'll hopefully be talking to you next week, but under better circumstances.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
That was Jonathan Delaney who rounded out last car on the lead lap P10. Now we're going to try and get down to second place finisher, Jacob Adams, if we can find him in one of the chats here. I don't see him. Oh, yes, I do. He's in the Indy 1 chat. Jacob Adams, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Jacob, it was a heck of a run out there. You were in the top 5 all night long, and then by the time the last lap round around, you found yourself right there in P2 with a podium finish. How was the car all night, man?
Yeah, we had a pretty decent car. We didn't have anything for anybody else on the long runs, especially the 83 and the 9. But I don't know, we had enough speed to stick around and let them know we were here for sure.
Absolutely. Like I said, it was a phenomenal run. Your car seemed to be super stable through the corners and just didn't quite have the fall off that a lot of these guys had. So is there anything you learned here that you might take forward, especially going into the championship race later in the season, the same track?
Yeah, definitely. We definitely had a really stable car. It kind of lost drive off after about 30, 35 laps. So if there's anything I need to learn for that race, just get better drive off after 30.
Absolutely. Well, Jacob, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank for your second place finish?
Yeah, I want to thank Brantley Roden at Harpoon Designs for this beautiful race car, Caravana. Looks great out here. My iRacing team, Robbins Racing Motorsports, a lot of help with the setup this week. Spotter Chris Wright, couldn't have done without him.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Jacob. Congratulations on P2, and hopefully we're talking to you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was second place, Jacob Adams. And tell you what, Ashton, you've been kind of quiet during these interviews. How about we let you take the race winner, Adam Benefiel?
Alrighty. Adam Benefiel, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
How about it? You got yourself a win out in the desert today. Congratulations, sir.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
So how did you feel about your car all race? Did you have any moments where you kind of got a little bit nervous with how these guys were kind of starting to catch on to you and pick up some speed in the closing laps here?
I mean, we were good. It was like normally our car goes through a transition early, and then it comes out of that transition, and we're normally pretty good. It seemed like we would be really good, like at the beginning of the run and in the middle, and then it would kind of fade away, and then uh, very deep into a run, it would start coming back to me, which was a little odd. Like under that when we had that green flag pit stop, like there at the end before that stage, like I was able to gap Delaney a good bit. But you know, like I knew when Bryson got the lead, Bryson was going to do everything he could to keep me behind him. And then but I knew at the same time I had to get in front of him before Delaney got to us, and it was hard racing, and I'm seeing chat. I just want to point this out. I'm seeing chat and everybody like saying that I need to be penalized and all this. Me and Delaney talked about it. There was like it was one of those ordeals where it was nothing I could do wrong. I didn't do it intentionally. I didn't push him to make him speed so he would have to go to the back or anything like that. Like it was he checked up and we were all three of us, the front three hit each other. I mean, it's just a chain reaction. It's what happens when you go down pit road. So
Yep, definitely a dominant performance by your 83 machine tonight. Super impressive, I might add. But talking about Bryson Hicksonbaugh and John Delaney there, yeah, there was that contact on pit road there. Definitely a racing deal. Not how John Delaney wanted the night 10 or you to get contact with him, I'm sure. And I heard y'all apologize during the race over the radio. But when it comes to Bryson and the contact late there in the race and just the hard racing there at the end, we talked a lot about how you guys have a lot of respect for each other. Does that change how you guys drive each other? Respect wise, does that level change between you guys, or does it? Do you leave it at the racetrack here tonight?
every single one of them.
And it also.
We're all friends. We shoot the bull, but when it comes to, there was a lot of when I came into this league at the end of last year, there was a lot of hype around Bryson, and I like and I respect how good he is and how fast he is, but I also I'm that type of person where I want to find the biggest, baddest son of a gun and go up against him week in and week out, and that's what I got here with him. We're going, me and him, me and Bryson, and really Delaney. He's stepped up his whole deal and his speed and everything. It's crazy how fast he's gotten over the winter. But we're gonna race the living dog crap out of each other. I mean, we're not gonna give each other an inch. We're gonna lean on each other. We're gonna pinch each other. Like we're gonna block. It's just the mentality that we have with one another. But you get us in chat and not racing, we're cool. Like we all sit around, shoot the bull, and hang out and have fun. It's just this when you put us on the racetrack, it's a different story. We want to beat each other.
There's that competitive environment, and definitely sounds like you rise to the challenge, and like you said, try to find the biggest, baddest guy out there. But going forward, we're only 5 races in. Got a couple guys not too happy with you, a little bit heated. Tempers flaring out in the desert. High stakes. For the win here. How do you mitigate that going forward in the next race?
I don't. It don't bother me. I don't care. That's fine.
So I got a question, and that is with Phoenix being the championship race later on in the season, you had to be using this race as a bit of a feeler, seeing how your car feels, where your team is versus everybody else, and you won the race. You seems like your team has this track dialed in. So my question is, are you guys content with your setups for this track, and are you ready for the championship race in advance? I mean, you're locked into the playoffs, and I would assume you're going to carry this momentum all the way through the season. Are you going to keep trying to find just that little bit more of an edge for this track?
Yeah. Like tonight, in my personal opinion, tonight we were junk. I mean, in all honesty, Delaney was the best car, like hands down. I really think he was. I had the short run speed, but short run speed ain't gonna really help you in a 312. Well, hell, I guess it did. I ended up winning, but it's the long run speed he had it, and that's what I think that's gonna be big for the stage points and everything. So Delaney's on it. Bryson, he's a moving chicane. He's in the way 90% of the time. so we're gonna keep working and try to get things a little bit better. And two, with all the builds coming, and they're changing, we're getting somewhat of a dynamic track back. It's gonna be a whole different ballgame when we come back here.
Interesting. Well, you heard it here first, Adam, looking for that long run speed that John had. But again, like I said, your team looked fantastic out there. You guys did a heck of a job, had a heck of a run. Before we let you go, Adam, anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just all the guys at WR1, Sim Chassis, Team Conti, KR Designs, Road Speed Dynamics, Kevin and Demarius for putting this on. All my new fans that I have in chat here on YouTube now, and you guys for broadcasting it, and Bryson for letting me show him what's up again.
All right, Adam. Well, congratulations on your win, and thanks for your time.
Yep, you too, man.
All right, that was your race winner, Adam Benefiel and Ashton. That's pretty much going to wrap up our coverage. Do you have any post-race thoughts?
Oh, well, there you have it. We heard from the race leader. Definitely kind of letting it roll off his back there. I mean, a win's a win, and you can't help but celebrate and try to not think about the repercussions for what may have gone on during the race. Just some hard racing incidents out there. Everybody's got their hot take, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of fallout in the next week before we gear up and go to our next race. But definitely going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes. We're only 5 races in, and I can't help but say that it almost feels like the playoffs already.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for our coverage with 3 Wide TV. I'm Andre Grandbush, joined by Ashton Hartman and Carlos Acosta in the booth, pushing the buttons and also agreeing with me that Ashton is fired, so that's a bonus there.
Oh, man.
From all of us here at 3 Wide TV and the 100% Cup Series, for Damaris Hickenbottom, Kevin Steele, league owners, thanks for tuning in, and good night, everybody.